Hello, everybody, and welcome back to DBDLeague. My name is MetalBro, or you can call me Rob, and we are loading into the first set of Umbrella versus Catalyst. We have the Shape on Hawkins, but before we get too far into this, let me introduce my co-caster for the evening. It's going to be Edgar the Ruiner. How are you today, my friend?
Things have gotten significantly more European on this broadcast team, it appears, and it wouldn't be AHL without Michael Myers, right? It is the man, the myth, the legend, it is John Halloween himself, and it's going to be, on a map where you can have quite a lot of advantages. Any indoor map, of course, very playable for the Shape, but the underground complex is going to work out. Now, we're going to be fighting Skeng relatively early on. Again, the chase going to start slow. This is, I believe, the first time that we will see the newly reworked Michael Myers as well. So there's a lot of questions to be raised about when you put everything in that man's favor, give him access to this new slaughtering strike ability for that one shot. Exactly what can be made out of it, especially because on a map like this, there are a lot of very short loops, and immediately it's similar to a pig dash, the way that you can kind of mind game it there, but a very early hit comes through, and it's also a lot deadlier than a pig dash as well. Deadly enough for Skeng to be put on an initial hook.
Absolutely, very well said. And I know there's going to be a little bit of confusion because I know people were expecting Willie Awesome to come step in for this set, but he had to be there for his little one, so I'm stepping in for right now, and hopefully things are good with Will back at home. But hello, everybody. I will be here for right now, and that is another early tag on a Sergio, by the way. Hein putting in some serious work into the new Myers, so that's pretty awesome. I'm pretty thrilled with how things are looking right now. I know some people were kind of, hoping to still have like the original Michael Myers, but right now, honestly, I'm seeing a lot of fun and a lot of potential. Like you said, very similar to a pig dash, but a lot more lethal. I think it's pretty cool, and he can break pallets now. That's pretty epic, I can't lie. Yeah, so now he's already on his tunnel out. Skeng trying to make it back over to the portal room and delay as much time as possible. We have some pretty good gen progress on the board right now, Edgar.
That we do, but nothing's completed yet, and that could be very much a problem. You can see that in these kind of enclosed environments, it really seems as if the priority is getting up as much torque as humanly possible. Skeng eventually going to be taken down on the very bottom side of the map in the portal room as well. In terms of the add-ons, Vanity Mirror, of course, used to be I guess a meme add-on is the way that we would describe it. Similar to the scratched mirror, the aura reading effects at the cost of being able to, actually kill people, but generally it worked out that way on indoor maps anyway. But no, has a completely different effect now. It's going to be revealing survivor auras at the end of your evil incarnate. Combine that with the jewelry box to increase the speed of the stalk while decreasing the range for it. But again, on an indoor map, really not going to be a problem. By the time you find a survivor, they're in plenty close range enough to be finding them for that stalk, right? Skeng currently hanging on the second hook. Hein was exploring the map a little bit, but the timing is perfect, right? It comes down the moment that someone is now back for that unhook. That would be Derice, and now Skeng could be in for a world of hurt. The loops on this map are not fantastic. Hein either with a slaughtering strike as we saw earlier, or just by regular mind games, or even just bloodlusting. These powers are very bloodlustable. I don't think Skeng's gonna live for very long, and we only have 2 gens to show for it. Not bad, but could certainly be better.
Oh yeah, you definitely don't want to have a survivor dead on a hook at 4 gens remaining. And that is actually, like you said, yeah, Bloodlust coming into play here. And, we do pop the gen right in Hein's face. So that's going to be 2 gens remaining for the price of 1 survivor dead. But it looks like we're trying to set up a pallet save, actually. Things looking a little bit dangerous for Hein to be able to pick up. But it's also going to be kind of dangerous on the survivor end because that's 2 survivors on the ground and everyone else remaining is injured right now, Edgar. So things are looking a little bit scary, I can't lie. And, yeah, we're playing in this area here as well, right near the 2 downs, so a little bit scary, I'm not gonna lie. That's gonna be another down. 1-2, red out.
Yeah, the last thing that you want to see is Michael Myers with a steel chair from the top rope, and that is exactly what he's getting up to here. Now, a really clever play there. Small one, but very clever from Derice, forcing the grab, sorry, Skeng, I should say. Forcing the grab so that the pickup could come out. And then, yeah, that lunge barely going to be missing. We have a little bit of a stay of execution for the survivors here, but we can see exactly how long they can last. They are scattered, they are injured, they are in for a world of hurt, and they're forced to fight on regardless.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, if you ask me how I felt about New Myers, I think I'm just gonna refer to this matchup immediately. I mean, this is a lot of chaos and pressure, like pretty indicative of how I feel about the New Myers. I mean, like this is some pretty good pressure, honestly, coming in from Hein here. I'm really enjoying this. Yeah, I mean, also the full hex build, by the way, is something definitely interesting to see. It definitely works out on an indoor map like Hawkins, so I'm pretty happy to see that. And we do still have Dominance in play, as well as Ruin, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think those two ever got cleansed, but Undying and Devour seem to be gone, so that's unfortunate for Hein, but still was able to get some really solid pressure out of this match. I mean, we have Skang dead, and was dead on hook by like 4 gens remaining, so ooh.
Yeah, and you also have to think that when in that pursuer mode, so to speak, the chase mode that you have now, Shape's going to be a little bit better at everything. Slightly faster vault, slightly faster pallet break. You know, having an inbuilt mini bamboozle and inbuilt brutal strength. As we said, this isn't exactly a map with the strongest tiles in the game. If you like your pallets, then you'll have a phenomenal time. But if you don't, then you're basically screwed. But in terms of that, the New Might is able to deal with those quite effectively as well before going back into Stalker mode to try to charge up to that Evil Incarnate to become the strongest possible version of himself. Unhook has come out onto Seryo, and there's some pretty recognizable players in this lobby. Of course, we didn't have a campfire chat, so we didn't have a lot of time to discuss them, but players like Grenau, like Skeng, like Derice Hein, but everyone basically. Some very recognizable names here, and on paper, I'd actually say somewhat evenly matched. Obviously, we'll have a chance to see the Catalyst survivors on the next side of things, but right now, we're seeing a very strong performance on the killer side from Hein.
Absolutely. And, you know, in the past on in AAHL, when we had these Myers sets on Hawkins, he was always pretty notorious for putting up a pretty large amount of pressure in the matches. But now with the newly reworked Myers, we're seeing that really hasn't changed all too much. All that's really changed is how he gets his power and like how he's able to use it essentially. So it's nice to see like the spirit of Myers hasn't exactly gone away. We're just seeing things are a little bit different with how he's played, but it's still pretty awesome. And I mean, yeah, Hein has been putting some serious work into playing the new Myers. I can see he's really thriving right now in this set. So yeah, we're gonna get another death hook onto Sergio now, and we're doubling the 4th gen here. So looks like we're gonna bring it down to possibly 4K1, unless we're able to take Hein on a very juicer chase for a whole nother gen without him catching on to the plan here.
Oh, drawable. 4K1 just feels like a draw condition. Given the relative strength of what we've seen thus far, right? Hein actually taking the time to charge up to that Evil Incarnate, specifically because both survivors are now healthy, and that creates a little bit of a mind game as well. You know, against the killer, which has the ability to just suddenly expose you, and suddenly your healing meant absolutely nothing. But, you know, it's a fleeting thing, and certainly not guaranteed all the time. When you take the time to heal, either it's going to be game-changing and life-saving, or it's going to be completely and utterly useless. Now Grenau has an entire Evil Incarnate to run through, with basically this one window to work with. Hein really wants to go for an aggressive lunge here, and I mean, you have to be thinking about the fact that this power is depleting in the bottom left, but this seems like an angle where the dash can come through, but Grenau threads the needle, able to dodge out, but now we get to a much shorter loop, and it's going to be a very tough time.
Oh my god! Oh, that is so unfortunate for Grenau. We get smacked through the pallet. Unfortunately, that is really rough. I cannot lie, Edgar. Yeah, Hein was really looking to get some usage out of Slaughtering Strike there, and hey, he nailed it. He got it right. Very nice stuff to see there. And it looks like Hein has some pretty good.
Where did Derice go? Oh, it must be on the other stair. Okay. I was thinking we just saw Derice on the stairs. And then Hein comes around the corner and suddenly he's vanished. But yeah.
It's like an episode of Nuke's Top 5. Did you see it? Like he's just gone.
It was the other staircase. Okay.
Gotta give some credit to Hein though, because Hein's got some really good game sense here, noticing that I mean, he's not on the other 2 gens, so he's got to be upstairs on the back end, right? Didn't find him though, so some really good stealthing coming out from Darice. And now I'm curious what we're gonna see out of our survivors here. We're gonna actually pick up and take him towards this highly progressed gen here, as close as we can, anyways. I don't think you make it to the staircase, but I mean, this is a pretty good area, I suppose.
Decent enough. We'll see exactly where Darius has gone here, because if we're being realistic, you are able to get the unhook. Okay. Not exactly what I was going for. I was about to say it would be very unrealistic to get the unhook here, but reality is dead and God is dead because we killed him over here. But Darius going to be extending this chase for a little bit longer, also giving the injured Grenau an opportunity to be working on some of these generators in the background as well. Hein wants to charge up to the Evil Incarnate while Darius is healthy, of course making use of the stronger stalk speed for that, but you can't afford to let any generators go, especially when the waters are so untested as not just new Myers, but new Myers on a unique special set. Now, realistically, Myers competitively would almost always be played on indoor maps, but... Well, we found Grenau, guys. But now you're feeling a little bit better, if you're Hein. Making use of the pocket undetectable that you have, especially in these indoor maps in situations like this, showing why it's so effective.
Yeah, very well said, honestly. I mean, like I said in past AHL with Myers on these sets, he was always a pretty formidable force here. But even with like the new Myers changes, it seems like he's really thriving, you know. So I'm glad we kind of really agree on that. Definitely seems like new Myers has a lot of pressure on these indoor sets. So really awesome stuff to see. We do get Grenau onto second hook now, and honestly, as improbable as I am seeing it is right now, if we can somehow get it down to 4K0, that would put a load of pressure on the other team here. I don't really see it possible. I mean, everything's possible, right? But I don't see it really probable. I mean, Grenau would need to have an insane last chase, and I mean like insane enough to pop another gen. So I don't know how doable that is, but if it can be done, it would put the world of pressure on our other team once we switch sides here. So that'd be really cool to see. But I mean, like you said earlier, and I'm in complete agreement with this, is that 4K1 is a very tieable result. And that'd be great, because I'd love to see the new 2v1 tiebreaker system in usage again. We've seen it twice already. I got to cast the first one with Outcast Andrew, and then we saw
They don't know. They don't know.
Oh my goodness! What is this?
Wait, why do I hear boss music, guys? What's happening? Who's playing the piano? Anyway, so Grenau is injured and in for a world of hurt right now. Of course, not seeing Hein through the glass, while Hein is able to get through that. Now we have another Slaughtering Strike available to be utilized here at this short tile. Right now, all the pressure is on Darice. Darice has to be sitting likely on that gen over on the third floor up by the stairs. Hein knows this and is running straight there. This realistically means that the callers come out. Darice, hide. Please hide yourself. And this is kind of the issue with the underground complex. It's the giveth and it taketh. It can be very well about that. So it's like seeing a cockroach in the corner of your room and it's just like, well, hang on a minute. But no, often it can be very difficult to pin down the survivors when there's so many flaws and so many nooks and crannies for them to hide in a similar vein that, yeah, an undetectable killer is, of course, going to be a problem as well. Fortunately, the survivors don't have the ability to somewhat on command read the killer's aura, and the killer does. So Darice is definitely not going to be long for this world anymore, as I think Darice are going to be hit with a lovely little slash across the face sooner rather than later.
So unfortunate for Darice. A very solid last chase there for sure, though. Did manage to pull off a pretty solid stun, by the way, despite the the amount of hits that have gone through pallets all throughout this match. But yeah, no, solid stun here, and we're gonna go pick up a Grenau now. Unfortunately, we didn't hook Grenau first, so yeah, he's first stage, buddy. I'm sorry, you can't get the Mori right now. Yeah, unfortunately, that's just how the Mori system works. So you can't Mori somebody if only survivor on the hook right now is first stage. So yeah, no, a very solid first match of the Myers set. Nice to see the special All Hallows League rules in play. And pretty good result. 4K1, very solid. I mean, Myers should not be performing this insanely well, but with the special rule set here, things are different, right? We get to see a lot of really crazy and hectic matches here. And new Myers seems like he's got a lot of pressure coming in on the on Hawkins, especially with this special rule set for All Hallows League.
Yeah, definitely thriving in a new environment. Thank you, Mr. Myers, for joining us. I mean, this is okay. It's not the first day of the Halloween season per se. Of course, All Hallows League is still ongoing and technically the qualifiers, but this is the first day of the main stage. We'll put it like that. So, on that capacity, I'm so glad that we've been able to see Myers. We've actually been able to see quite a few horror icons today. We were seeing some Leatherface earlier. I think if we're a little lucky, we get to see some Freddy, but don't quote me on that. We'll see some Freddy Fazbear, not Freddy Fazbear, but Springtrap later on as well, if we're a little bit lucky in our final matchup of the day. It's a great day to be a horror fan. It's a great day to be a competitive Dead by Daylight fan, because, of course, these are the best of the best players, and again, this is the first day of the tournament. We've seen two relatively one-sided matchups thus far, so let's see if we can hopefully get something a little bit, closer, more intense.
Yeah, hopefully, right? We are a big fan of seeing some very equally strong teams coming head to head, right? And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about comp is having these matches that just go on, and it just seems like it's just either team could really take the win, and they're both just fighting tooth and nail to take the win, right? But yeah, so far, first match of the Myers set, I'd say 4K1 is a pretty good result on both sides. And like we mentioned earlier, multiple times already, by the way, and I'm never going to stop saying it, is the fact that 4K1 is a very tiable condition here for Myers on Hawkins with the AHL rule set. So right now we're switching sides, getting Umbrella on the killer. Looks like Grenell will be coming in, and we'll get Catalyst on the survivor side now. This was Catalyst's pick, so curious to see how Umbrella's going to do. I mean, these are players we've seen do this before. This would not be their first time on a Myers set on Hawkins, I don't believe. They've been around for a while. Comp is not new to these teams here, so I mean, I'm imagining we're going to see some pretty close matches here with these two teams.
Yeah, that we are. Both of these teams, of course, very much earned their way here. It was Catalyst, which was specifically invited. Umbrella did have to go through the qualifiers. They didn't receive the automatic invite, but they have not dropped a single. They have not dropped a single set throughout all of the qualifiers either. So they're coming in looking incredibly strong. Of course, they will. Their killer player is going to have to secure better than a 4K1 if they want to keep up that undefeated streak. I guess he'll accept a tie as well. But if Catalyst are able to get all of the generators completed on their survivor side, well, suddenly that is going to remain a very broken. That streak will become very much broken, and maybe we're in the potential for 3-0 territory. But why on earth would we want to see that? Of course, a quick little look as what we have forward to. Shape on Hawkins for the first time today. We're going to be seeing Doctor on Midwich, which we did end up seeing earlier with the Iridescent King, and the Merciless Storm, which I just find admittedly hilarious that we saw someone fail Merciless Storm in comp. Please don't ask me to do it. I will start crying. And then we get into some gold standard balancing sets like Plague, Hillbilly, and the Nurse, should we get that. And I'm still really eager to get ourselves to a set 5, one of those hybrid sets, Our first two sets are always going to be special sets. Our second two, so sets 3 and 4, are always going to be gold standard, regular balancing sets, no shenanigans. And then set 5 is going to be something of a hybrid. And I really, really want these teams to get us there. So I'm not rooting for anyone in this race. I just want both teams to have fun, and for us to have fun as well. But mostly the teams, and us a little bit.
You know what, Edgar? Very well said. I like where your mind's at. I'm right there with you, honestly. I'm really hoping we see the tiebreaker on both sets. Because we have a special Nurse set coming in at the very end. Like you said, it's a bit of a hybrid set, so I'm really excited to see that. And same thing with the next matchup as well. But we'll get to that later. Right now, we're focusing on Catalyst versus Umbrella. We have the second match of the Myers set to go through, and we have to see how Umbrella's going to do now that they're on the killer side here and Catalyst on the survivor side. So, crazy thing about these sets too is that you need to have really good comms on indoor sets. Indoor sets definitely require like the most comms I've noticed out of most of the other sets. I mean, maybe some of the very high octane sets like Hillbilly or Ghoul might require a lot of comms as well compared to other sets. But indoor, usually going to be a lot of communication required. But that being said, we're loading into the second match of the Myers set with Grenout on the Shape here with pretty interesting build. It's not all hexes this time. We're actually running Trail of Torment, Call of Brine, Eruption, and Agitation. Very interesting looking build here, can't lie. That being said, we do also have Vanity Mirror, and now we have Tombstone Piece, which
Panic, guys. Don't panic. Don't panic. They changed the Tombstone Piece. It's okay.
It's not gonna be the Mori, guys. Don't worry.
I also had to do a double take when I saw Tombstone Piece. Like, wait, what the hell? But no, it has a much different effect. It's going to grant you the undetectable when you enter Stalker mode and Grenout. Going to be making use. I mentioned earlier the increased vault speed and the increased pallet break speed, but also you also get a 20% further lunge as well. Basically, you are built for all of these short little loops as the new Myers.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy, right? Because I mean, we already have an injury coming out on Drago, and now we are gonna take this down on the Drago. Pretty early down, actually, if I do say so myself. Full M1 chase, and like you said, I mean, Pursuer mode allows you to lunge a little bit quicker, break pallets a little bit faster, and vault a little bit faster. That first down, by the way, came in around 110, which is pretty close to the average of some of the fastest chase killers, actually. So just kind of goes to show you that new Myers is no joke in Pursuer mode. He does have a little bit of extra stuff given to him to help him in chase here, and if you take it for granted and you don't expect much, it can definitely catch you off guard. So definitely have to be careful.
It's not just Grenout on the side of Umbrella either. We saw from Hein a down come out of 112, so basically completely equal here. Both these killers already off to a fantastic start. Now we're going to see whether the Trail of Torment pick is going to be worth it from Grenout, because Grenout is really specking into the undetectable here. With the Tombstone Piece, with the Trail of Torment, I am slightly questioning this decision based on the fact that you can now make yourself undetectable at the press of a button, right? It's not like, say, Ghostface on Larry's. It's not like you bring Trail of Torment along. You can make yourself undetectable. Grenout wants to be in Pursuer mode for as long as humanly possible while remaining undetectable that entire time. And it might be working onto Mystic, unfortunately, able to get to the pallet, a stun, and a blind to force the pallet break as well. So now the survivors have to be on their A game. I think this set is going to be slowed down to somewhat of a crawl, with neither side really wanting to make too big of a move and necessarily give their hand away or their positioning.
Absolutely. We do find our next chase on to Mystic as well. We kind of baited leaving him from what it looked like earlier, but it eventually ended up coming right back onto him. And we do get a tag. First hook still on the Drago, and now we actually get rid of Trail of Torment as well. So now he won't know he's coming. He's in Stalker mode now, but now coming back into Pursuer mode, ready to take down another chase here. And so far, not really playing into Evil Within at all. We're just kind of pure M1 chasing here, which is really interesting. We do get a down onto Mystic as well. We have 3 gens left, so right now things are looking pretty good for pretty solid for Catalyst. We're making some really good progress. Last match at this time, Hein had a survivor dead on hook already at this point in time right here.
Yeah, definitely not a toggle out situation. Oh, okay. Okay, Hein being the knower, Hein being the person who made this happen, saying, "Don't show me these ancient texts, I've already read them," isn't going to be caught out by Grenout underneath that portal room there, but is going to have to be on notice, because the problem when you're working on this gen, it's like you put yourself in such a corner. Like, yes, you can get out, you know, like you have the vault available down into this kind of glass conservatory section, but like once you're here, you are all but trapped with the killer. right? And now it's not Hein who's there, but it's Drago instead, who the dash comes through. Actually, a miss from Grenout, but not going to affect the power too much. He's going to have another attempt at it, and yeah, quick charge and a quick dash is going to secure a very nice down onto Drago. In the meantime, Mystic been taken off the hook, likely going to be getting reset. We have to see how the gens are going to fly in the meantime.
Can we talk about how good of a bait that was from Drago, baiting the window?
We can talk about how good of a bait that was.
Thank you. I'll probably talk about it later. Thank you for letting me know. Anyways, we're gonna go and put Drago on the hook. I'm kidding. That was a very good bait from Drago. Definitely made Grenout think he was gonna have to swing for the window with Slaughtering Strike, but last second decided to loop the little control panel there, and definitely really caught Grenout off guard. Kind of wasn't really prepared for setting Slaughtering Strike in that direction, so made him miss. Really nice stuff. And now we're fighting our next chase on the Mystic, who is first hook right now, and unfortunately the pallet bait does not work out for him. Grenout just sends it through like a Giga Chad Myers he is.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And there's going to be absolutely no shame on Grenout after that one. Gonna be, yeah, getting the pallet bait out. Hasn't been able to put Mystic on a hook, but I don't actually think he really cares about putting Mystic on a hook. Instead, is just gonna try and play for the kill onto Drago. And yeah, when the opportunity presents itself, why not? The problem is we've reached our tie now, and it only takes one more generator. And it's not like you have a perfect 3-gen split, right? You know, you have one right here next to you, you have one over by the portal, and then one in this corner. They're sort of on one side of the map, but I wouldn't go so far as to call it a 3-gen in that sense. But we have at least secured itself a 3v1, taking great advantage of the increased lunge there. And that's a massive muscle memory thing, right? As odd as it sounds, you know, 99% of the time, that's not a lunge that you make, like, at all. And you would just instantly start to go around. Instead, having played enough the Numaya to just know, I can go for this swing right now, and the very tippy end of my knife is going to be catching into the survivor's flesh. It's good play from Grenout.
Very good play from Grenout, yeah. And I really like the fact that you mentioned that it's really a muscle memory thing, so you're not really familiar with your lunge being able to hit that very often, right? So I'm really glad you mentioned that. That's definitely going to put some knowledge in for future use there. And we're going to get the down on the Mystic here.
Hi, Mystic.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to take the down on the Mystic there, and we are looking at a lot of pressure here. But, you know, considering the fact that we have 3 survivors still up right now, they could just be doubling a gen and getting a finish here, which would mark the win condition here. But we'll have to see if they're going to be able to do that or not, because that was a really fast down onto Mystic there.
We did say that 4K1 was an exceedingly drawable condition, and we're going to be seeing that. And ooh, actually, hang on a minute, Palaloop. Have to be very careful not to get caught out there. You are in a bit of a tough spot against a killer who is generally going to be going around that uncontested, but in the meantime, a bit of a bamboozle here, as Hein was working on this exit gate generator all along. A little bit of deception and trickery from our survivors. I mean, it is the season for tricking or treating, right? But absolutely no treats for our killer today, all on the survivor side. It doesn't even matter at this point if Mize is able to fulfill that you know, horror film killer fantasy and actually, you know, get everyone dead and not leave the final girl alive the whole time. But it doesn't matter. All the generators have been completed. The win has therefore been secured for Catalyst. And, you know, that does break Umbrella's unbeaten streak, unfortunately. Let's see if they can recover that quickly or not.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, either way, right? Umbrella's just a very strong team, and the fact they got here with no set losses at all is just proof of how good of a team they are. And yeah, they do lose their first set, unfortunately for them. But we are in All Hallows League now. We're going up against some of the best teams. So it's unfortunate, but one of the things it's a fact is the fact that you're gonna eventually lose a set against some of these really solid teams. I mean, unless you're just insane. But either way, Umbrella did absolutely cook to get here with no set losses. So we gotta hand it to them, right? But now they're going up against Catalyst, which is a very well-known team for quite some time in competitive DBD, as well as DBDLeague as well. So, Yeah, they had some odds stacked against them here, but they still pulled through with a very solid result. I mean, 4K0, still really good stuff here for a Myers set, honestly. And it almost did end up in a tie. So we got to give some credit to Umbrella for sure. But Catalyst takes the win on the first set, so congrats to them. Well, moving on, like you said, to the Doctor set on Midwich. We did see that already earlier. I wasn't around for it. I was sleeping. I was getting some good beauty rest. And now I'm here and I get to see it for the first time myself. So I'm very excited for that.
Were you getting your rest because you're 74 years old and then you need your daily naps?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's correct. That's correct. Yes.
Glad to get out of the way, Mr. Rob. But yes, the Doctor on Midwich is a chaotic set. We'll put it like that. Similar to this one as well, and I really like what we're doing here. In All Hallows League, you know, this is still. I think the main emphasis is this is still competitive, right? This is still the highest of the highest tier. Everyone is still absolutely on their A game, but you know, it's fun to bend the balancing a little bit. To put some interesting quirks in, some rules in that survivors are going to have to, and killers are going to have to adapt to on the fly, because at the end of the day, you can't necessarily plan for everything. There is a level of predictability in balance, which we would find quite often, and that's something that we're very much trying to do away with, for at least for AHL, having some sets with some slightly crazier rule sets mixed in with the gold standard balancing that we all know and we love, and also trying to rotate through the killer pools as well, so that we can get the biggest variety of killers that can be shown off to you. It's looking really, really fun, and of course we're going to have a lot more where it's came from. We're about halfway through today. Of course, we do have our Catalyst v Umbrella match later, and we're going to have Petroleum versus Exodus as well later on. Basically, stick around for a good time and a long time.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to see this Doctor set, by the way. You know, usually Doctor is played on a map like Wretch's Shop or most recently Wrecker's Yard, which has been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying those sets with Wrecker's Yard. Seems like it's a little bit better for Doctor and he performs well. But now seeing Midwich, that's going to be interesting because, I mean, Midwich is one of the smallest maps in the entire game. If I'm not mistaken, the only smaller map is the game. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, right? Because this terror radius will pretty much be affecting every corner of the map, just about, save for maybe like a few rooms. But I mean, it should be like pretty much everywhere. So we should be getting constant information on survivors. So, with that being said, it looks like we're going to have the same exact lobby ran out on the Doctor with the same survivor team from Catalyst. So it should be really interesting. And like you mentioned, Iridescent King in play as well. So that's really going to shape the matches here. I'm interested in seeing how this is going to play out because this is some very special rules for this set.
Yeah, for the people who may not know the Iridescent King, it basically looks at all the other Doctor add-ons and decides, what if we just did it all at the same time? Most of the Doctor's add-ons, all of the notes, whether it be calm, restraint, discipline, anything like that, they have their main effect, I would call, which is the one which directly affects the power, either reduced detonation delay, changes to the static blast interaction, etc., etc. And we might have a problem in that sense, because it does not seem like Grenau is running the Iridescent King.
Interesting, yeah.
We're waiting to hear some confirmation officially from behind the scenes. So for the time being, we'll just treat everything as if it is standard.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have to agree, guys. Okay. We'll get the exact information to you as it goes on. We are going to be calling a restart, of course. But yeah, as we were mentioning, as part of the special balancing, the Iridescent King must be played. There seem to be some other issues as well. But while we have the time, Mr. MetalBro, and we have some time to kill, I'm going to be asking. So something that I want to talk to you about, if that's quite all right, is the rules that we have should we get to that fifth and final set, right? And here's the great thing.
Yes.
And here's the great thing: they are completely randomized, right? Literally, I don't know who will do the exact process, but it'll be like, you know, a coin flip or a random number generator or whatever to figure out which affliction will be put onto the teams at the end. Everything will be gold standard and we'll be ready to go in, and they'll be like, hang on a minute, let's spin the wheel, so to speak. So we have rule number 1: the killer must bring haunted grounds, and the survivors have to cleanse it before the first gen can be completed, as you do. Number 2: the killer must bring ruin, and it may not be cleansed by the survivors as their only hex perk. 3: the survivor team cannot drop a pallet until the first down happens, which, as someone who loves to see survivors have an absolutely terrible time, I'm quite a big fan of that. Number 4, number 4 just feels like really mean for some reason. The killer can only bring corrupt, and no other perks can be bought by either side. It's literally just like, screw you, here's corrupt intervention. And it's like, did you bring anything else for show and tell? No, we just bought corrupt intervention. It's like, okay. And then number 5, survivor has to have no mither. Just because, right? It feels like we're injecting some of the community night spice back into the main stage, and I would absolutely love to get all the distance all the way to the very, very end.
Absolutely. I mean, it really fits into the theme of trick or treat, right? Like, this really fits in. Honestly, any of these 5 could be like a lot of fun. Honestly, it'd be really crazy to see a nurse set with only corrupt intervention and no one else gets perks. I mean, like, quite frankly, that seems like a lot of chaos, and it sounds kind of miserable for the survivor side. I can't lie. Nurse doesn't really need perks. But survivors against nurse, they definitely need perks. So that would be really rough. But honestly, I think that a nurse set with no mither would actually be kind of cooking. I'm not gonna lie. It could actually be pretty solid. Because nurse will slug a lot as well, similar to Hillbilly. So I would be pretty interested in seeing no mither on a nurse set, especially on Father Campbell's Chapel. Very different from Cold Tower 1. So yeah, I'd be really interested to see that. Although I would have to say the nurse would get kind of screwed over if the first affliction gets put in haunted ground. I mean, what is a nurse going to do with haunted ground? Absolutely nothing. I don't think. I mean, if the nurse walks you down, I mean, I guess it's just GG's, right? But
oh no, she's walking at us menacingly.
Oh no, 3.8 meters per second nurse is walking me 4.0 meters per second survivor down. Oh no. Anyways, I mean, hey, if you put yourself in that situation, it's just GG's, right? I mean, I don't think you should really find a situation where you'll get walked down by a nurse, but if you do, I mean, I don't know what to say. But I'm really curious to see any of these 5 afflictions in play. So please, I really hope we get to see the tiebreaker. That'd be amazing. But we should be all set and ready to go now. Loading into the Doctor match finally with Iridescent King on board. So, and
unfortunately, we do have to point out there will be a half hook stage penalty applied to Umbrella for a relatively minor, but still, of course, a balance offense. So they're going to be fighting out from underneath. They've already had their streak broken. And they're going to be... They've already had their win streak broken, and now they're going to have to fight with half hook stage penalty as well. So there won't be any draws available here. It's just going to be, you know, put in a really strong performance if you're Grenout on the side of Umbrella here. And Grenout is an absolutely fantastic player. I'm honestly slightly surprised to... Yeah. So sorry, I lost my train of thought. A lot of things happening right now. Point is, Grenout's a fantastic player, so we're going to be seeing exactly how well he can do.
Absolutely, I would be really intrigued in seeing how this is going to go. I'm a big fan of Doctor sets in general, and seeing him on a much more favorable map is pretty awesome. Now, crazy thing is, Doctor's already a very highly communication necessary set. So seeing him on an indoor set is just adding to that chaos right there. I mean, the instant you take a hit, you should be telling your teammates, "Hey, I need a teammate to come help me in this chase. Either drop the pallet or take a hit from me so I can make it to another resource." But yeah, I mean, putting that on an indoor set is just gonna make things insane here. So very unfortunate for Very unfortunate. Oh, a nice chickie! Right to the pallet, and we make it as well! Oh my goodness, this is kind of insane for Mystic here. Really able to last a while. You get that pallet down, but if he plays this well, you get stuck in this room! He misses the shock! He misses it again! Oh my goodness, Edgar. Oh my goodness, he got away with, how did he get away with this?
Well, I mean, it's a god pallet for a reason, right? We know that Doctor is, you know, sometimes able to shut these down. Eventually, Grenaut is going to be managing it. But just in the meantime, look at this generator progress. Like, I'm sorry, young man. You cannot be letting the generators fly this free, this willy-nilly. We're going to have 2 done back-to-back. And Palaloop progressing theirs should be finished as well, because we're not going to get a pain resonance. We're going to put a basement hook instead. So this is a double-edged sword. Number one, Mystic will be either tunnel to second stage or camp to second stage. You're in the basement, it's over. But you don't have that extra aggression from the pain resonance come out, at least not initially. So, a long-term investment for Grenaut here.
Okay, that was a little bit scary. He got shocked like right before the gen completed. I thought he was about to leave and think the gen was done. But yeah, that's 3 gens for that first chase from Mystic, and I'm not surprised at all that Grenaut was just like, that's it, buddy. You're going in the basement. Like, completely understandable. But yeah, no, very, very solid first chase from Mystic here. We do get the God Pallet down on the top left-hand side of the map here. And Mystic gets rescued from the basement. We're going to go straight back and try to get our tunnel out, I imagine. Ruin in play here, so we do get some good regression on this gen. Drago makes it to the upstairs pallet in the library. And Calm Spirit in play. Although, quite frankly, I don't really think that Calm Spirit really does much of anything for you against Doctor. You just don't hear the scream, but Doctor still gets notified when you get shocked. So it doesn't really seem to matter too much. Only except for the fact that, I mean, if there's some really specific situations where it would really come in handy, but more often than not, it really wouldn't.
We're going to be seeing this. We're going to be seeing this chase continue here, as Drago is doing a pretty nice job, of course, getting shocked up, and eventually, often it's not a case of if you get caught against a Doctor. It's a case of when, and Drago, of course, going to be found out here in the corner and end up going down. Hein finally getting around to working on that hex. Unlike, say, the Leatherface set that we saw earlier, you are allowed to cleanse the hexes against the Doctor, so I like the investment there. A lot of teams will sort of forget about Ruin at the start and prioritize just like progressing the gens as much as humanly possible, which is fine, but then eventually the Ruin will just sort of catch back up with them, right? There is still a totem up, so I believe that'll be the Wretched Fate that's still up, but again, at least Ruin is gone for the time being. So I like the survivors here. They bully out the gens as much as they can, and then when there's a little bit of downtime, they get right on the Ruin, delete some of that regression, make life a bit easier for them. Drago again being caught out here with the shocks over on this corner. Seems like your tunnel out target has changed quite dramatically. That early basement hook onto Mystic not meaning quite a lot, but this does mean that Drago is going to be alive for a bit longer.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's nice to see. Although quite frankly, after seeing 3 different gens pop, I don't know if I would commit a tunnel out anymore. I think I would play for stages. But you know, to each their own. Maybe Grenaut has a special plan cooking here. Quite frankly, though, I think that seeing 3 gens pop for your first chase, I think it's best to play for, you know, stages at that point. But yeah, so far, that's very interesting. I believe that was what, scene partner on Tyler. So random scream there, unless we had maybe like some sort of iridescent king interaction with a survivor stealthing nearby. Not too sure, but we do kind of get caught off guard when we find out Palaloop in the courtyard trying to finish the gen. And yeah, kind of in an unsafe area. This could be a down rather soon. Yeah,
that right. It will. Yeah, absolutely coming through there. But again, the problem that we have is there's no tunnel out happening. Normally I'd agree with this on Doctor, because you're not really a killer that's expected to 4K. And I think that if the killer is not expected to 4K, going for fresh hooks is completely fine. And honestly, not wrong at all. but you had the opportunity with such an early hook onto Mystic in the basement as well, that it was doable, at the very least, to try and put more pressure onto Mystic specifically, right? Now, of course, like, yeah, Drago's dead on hook, that's fine, but with the amount of hook stages that you had, you could already have one survivor dead by this stage, which, of course, it's not like you don't have the hook stages bluntly. But of course, you know, immediately finding your tongue out is nice. But again, there's still 3 survivors alive. And those 3 survivors are really, really good at cranking out generators while you're trying to get something else done.
Very well said. Yeah, that was a pretty unfortunate situation for Drago right there. But just like you said, I mean, like, there's a lot of gen progress on the board right now. And definitely don't really want to commit to a tunnel out, even if it's right in your face, dangling in front of you like a piece of candy. So, yeah, definitely don't want to commit to that. We actually do catch Mystic and Drago. If you pay attention to that, by the way, Calm Spirit does tell you that doesn't tell you that Drago screamed or was afflicted by the static blast. But at the same time, if you pay attention to HUD, you'll notice that Drago went tier 3 madness. So that's why I don't think Calm Spirit is insanely good against Doctor, but definitely does provide some value if you don't pay attention to HUD very much.
I would respectfully disagree, in the sense of you don't get the location on the survivor. You're not really told a lot other than they're in your terror radius, right? But apples and oranges at this point, right? Because the main point is that the final generator has been completed. Drago doesn't really mind going down here. Drago going down would buy time for the rest of the team to escape. You know, it's almost certain that with Hallows and Hein both still not at tier 3, they're going to be able to pick up Mystic, and they should be able to all escape here. At least they should, but it seems like someone's actually trying to rotate to get the pickup onto Drago. So many illusionary doctors that you have, which actually work for some surprisingly good information as to where the survivors are. But eventually Drago is going to be one picked up. The tier 3 at the very end meant that there was not the ability to heal up all the survivors. And now I guess it's just a matter of playing a bit safely to heal up who you can, just to make sure that you can just walk out the X gate completely uncontested.
Very well said. And so far, 5 stages on Doctor, 3 fresh. Not a terrible result at all. But I think we could have had more if we went for Mystic. We could have gone for 6 stages. We knew where Mystic was. We saw him scream on the ground with tier 3 madness. But yeah, we do take the kill on the Drago, but a door is open right now. And we're kind of just guarding it, hoping people don't get out this way. But there's a whole nother door that people can go out. So it's kind of unfortunate right now for Grenout. But 5 stages isn't terrible on the Doctor. I would just expect more out of a set on Midwich, honestly. No, we do take a tag onto Mystic here, who has Metal of Man, but it's not active at the moment. So that's unfortunate for Mystic. But we do have body blocks coming in, and what is
I think the conga line of survivors is doing all right. Oh my god, they're resetting each other, but Hallows can't heal. They have to snap out of it. I'm getting like increasingly more worried for the survivors as time goes on. Recall that they don't really have great tracking onto where Doctor is at any given time, because they're constantly now hearing a fake terror radius. Like what's happening here? Okay, we have Hallows who's in one gate, Mystic who is still injured. Doctor who might be intercepting them. What's going on? I feel like I'm going insane watching this game, let alone the survivors.
Yeah, very well said, right? What a game. What a match.
But they get out anyway. God forbid.
Yeah, that could have been a pretty dangerous end game, honestly. I personally feel like not picking Mystic there was a mistake. I feel like we should have just like let Drago get picked up and take Mystic instead. That could have been 6 stages, 3 fresh. That would have been a better win condition. But I mean, to each their own, right? We got Drago out of the game. 5 stages, 3 fresh. It's still not bad. I'm not going to complain about it. I just think that it was a bit of a mistake. We could have had more. But either way, Grenout played that really well. And the Survivor side played that exceptionally well. Really good communication from them. I mean, it's no surprise. They picked an indoor set, so it's no surprise that even though the other team picked this set, they still thrived on this set as well. One of the big things about having a really good team is that you need to be prepared for pretty much any set. And so far, it seems like both teams are doing exceptionally well. So really nice to see that.
That it is. Oh my lord. Okay, so yeah, it was a very strange end game. Of course, it was always going to be a tough time, and we do, of course, have the half hook stage penalty applied. So Team Umbrella going to have 4.5 stages going into that. Catalyst only need to secure 5 stage on their killer side to put themselves on match point. But yeah, the end game was really peculiar, sort of from both sides, bluntly. Um, but like, yeah, there were decisions that were made. I'm not really sure entirely what was being played out, both by the survivors and by Grenow. Um, I can only assume that it was quite literally the insanity that was getting to them. As odd as that sounds, because genuinely, it doesn't sound like a lot on most maps. Because in fairness, it isn't. Like the Iridescent King is strong for sure, but it's mostly a bit of a meme add-on in that sense, right? Like, okay, well, we see a lot of flashing lights and colors and things, right? But when you're in a tense endgame scenario, and you're hearing the constant terror radius and then like illusionary doctors, but then sometimes the actual doctor appears as well. You know, it's really, really peculiar. The decisions that the survivors were making, but Grenade didn't really take advantage. Survivors were split. There was a time where about 4 of them, sorry, not 4 of them, but like 3 of the remaining ones were in tier 3 and had to snap out of it, and they were trying to reset each other, but they forgot that someone had to snap out of it. And so we had an injured survivor just kind of left behind, just clutching their head in shame as everyone else scatters towards different exit gates. I am really impressed and also really confused that the survivors actually got outs there. Like, not outs in general, but that they were able to only give like 5 and then in the end 4.5 stages.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, things could have gone a lot worse for the survivors there, but uh, we're able to pull through thanks to some mistakes. But I mean, mistakes were made on both sides at that end game there, honestly. So it's a miracle things worked out how they did, quite frankly. So yeah, no, crazy match, honestly. Yeah, I mean, like this is
I'd say it's a Halloween miracle instead of a Christmas miracle, but
yeah,
AHL is not for a while.
I see, I see. Yeah, no, honestly, pretty well said, I would say. It's just one of the perks, one of the many perks of the AHL rule set, right? Some crazy things are going to be happening in these special rules matches. So it's no wonder that this match was so crazy. But that being said, we're just switching the sides up. We're going to get Umbrella on the Survivor side here, and now have Catalyst on the Killer side. We have Mad coming in actually, Mad 05. Haven't seen that name around in a little while, so nice to see him back. And we're gonna have Grenaut, Derai, Skeng, and Sasua on the Survivor side. So that's pretty awesome. Um, really curious to see how this is gonna go, though. I mean, it's crazy enough. You know, doctor sets require a lot of communication. If you don't have good comms, then doctor sets probably won't go very well. But that being said, on top of that, we are in an indoor set, so things are even more hectic, which is honestly, I'm all here for it. I love hectic sets. You already know that. Anyone who casts me with me, I mean, it's one of the very first things that I will tell you is that I love chaotic. I love chaotic sets. So, Doctor on Midwich, pretty awesome stuff.
Absolutely. Both of these teams definitely have a lot of pedigree coming in, right? This wasn't, at least on paper, necessarily a hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby matchup coming into it. Catalyst, of course, currently winning. Obviously, currently favored. Should be putting themselves on match point soon. Predominantly Italian team, also comprised of a couple of Romanian, German, British, and Turkish players as well. In the meantime, of course, we have Umbrella, predominantly Russian, predominantly a Russian team. Rounded out with Ukraine too. So it's great that we're seeing. It's great that we're seeing such an international outpouring for the highest level of DBDLeague. So yeah, it's fantastic to see so many players. It's fantastic to see them all perform at such high level, and it's fantastic to see Mad immediately getting a 4-man static blast. Remember that once you get to tier 1 of Madness, you quite literally cannot get it down at all. So you're always going to now be suffering from some kind of minor affliction, including running into the killer if your name is Sasua.
Also,
Twice,
a bit of a fun fact, really quick, by the way, is the fact that Matt05 played with Direwolf in Colt in 2022. If you guys remember that team, it was quite a crazy time, and that Direwolf considers Mad a good kid. So there's a little bit of a fun fact for you. And also another fun fact coming from me instead of Direwolf this time is that was a pretty fast first down for Doctor. Usually you want to see your chases. I mean, last match, Mystic was able to take Grenell on a chase for 3 generators. And I don't think we even got a third of that completed before Sasua went down. So really strong early pressure coming in from Matt05 here. That's really good stuff.
Yeah, a 53-second down that came in. Compare that to the 148 that we saw from Grenell. We're already massively above target. Again, it's not even like you have to do a ton here. 5 stages is absolutely doable. Of course, you're on Doctor. Doctor's not the strongest killer in the game. I do concede that. But when you're on an indoor map, when you have the Iridescent King, when you have so many things which are working in your favor, I would absolutely not be surprised that you'd be fine. And Mad here just going to be proxying the hook. Sasua should stay here until minimum 2nd stage, and then this is kind of the standard. When you get such an early first down, you know that the gens aren't going to be flying if you don't actively pressure them. You can just sort of sit. You can just sit by the hook, chill out for a little bit, have a smoke, have a bite to eat, whatever fills you with joy in this winter season. Before Sasua eventually goes to 2nd stage, and you think, okay, now it's game time, now I can pressure out the generators, but put yourself in a position so that when the inevitable unhook does come out, you are right there for the tunnel out. For the survivors now, they have a very dangerous game to play.
Sorry, I just thought it was funny that Mad missed the hole like 4 times in a row and just realized he was in the stall over. Okay, anyways, yeah, Polly does get Sasua to 2nd hook there. And yeah, we have a really early tunnel out. I don't think oh, that's so big. Okay, that's terrifying. I think Sasua is going to be out of the game pretty early on unless Grenell's able to take a pretty good body block, which, I mean, does happen, but rapid brutality in play here, Edgar. That's a little bit scary for Sasua here, being dead on hook at 3 gens. I mean, that's really strong early game pressure. And we do actually threaten the shock here. We don't actually do it, but we threaten it, which convinces Sasua not to play for the window here. He does it again, too. Oh, man. Okay.
And that's what Sasua's doing a really good job so far, and it's actually bought enough time for Derice to come in, take a hit. But again, Doctor doesn't really care about that because of the rapid brutality. He says, okay, thanks for the hit tank. Now I'm just going to enclose in faster and faster onto my actual target. But for the time being, leave Sasua. Instead, goes over to Derice instead, because, yeah, you're completely fine. If you camp Derice all the way to death, perfect. That's a victory. And Doctor in close quarters can stop those unhook attempts with the shock as well before sort of just walking through and jump scaring Derice there to secure another fresh hook stage in the meanwhile. The rapid brutality is really popular on Doctor on the more open sets for the reasons which are explained a million times. UM won a lot, but you don't need Bloodlust, therefore it's perfect. But Grenell also injured and suddenly falls over in the corner. This is not ideal, because there was a world in which you could have played around letting Derice go to 2, splitting up your remaining survivors on gens, and then going for like a 2-man save to get them out. Now you don't really have that luxury. Either of these players go to 2nd stage here, and it's over. So honestly, if I'm if I'm mad right now, I just like sit in front of Grenell and just give him like a big old kiss on his face as he's hanging from the hook. But for the time being, you don't need to do that necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, next stage will be the tie condition unless it's on Skang, which would be the win condition. So that's a little bit scary, I'm not going to lie. We have 4 stages on the board right now. Last match was 5 stage refresh. We're sitting at 4 stage refresh right now. So if we find Skang and we're able to get him down before endgame, that is going to look really scary right now. And will be the win for Catalyst on set 2. But yeah, if we get Grenell, Derice, or Sasua here, we are looking at a tie at the moment. And any other survivor will be a win. Or if we get Skang, that'll be a win. And Skang's actually in chase right now, so let's...
Any stage would be a win, recall. There was the half-hook stage penalty that came out because of the iridescent king.
You're right.
So the pressure is mounting even more for the survivors right now, right? You know, things are getting chaotic. You know, I'm forgetting the win condition. They're forgetting the win condition. Like it's
We're all
who knows? Like who knows what's happening? And now Sasua has to have the chase of a lifetime. But not just that. During all of this, the survivors have to complete 2 more generators and get the exit gates open at the exact same time. It is an unenviable position to be in, especially because, okay, Derice is going to complete a gen, but where the hell is the second one? Grenaut's gen has at least another, 50, 60 seconds on it. That's just not enough time. Unless Sasua's an absolute god, but, like, as Lara says right there, no, probably not.
Oh!
But the hit tank comes in perfectly!
Insanely good hit tank coming in from Skang here. Okay, I don't know how we're going to pull this off, but right now, Umbrella is cooking to the absolute limit right now. Grenaut, Derice doubling a gen. If they're able to pull this off, it would be insane, honestly, Edgar. We are looking at something... Okay. Oh, wait. Maybe potential pallet save. Enough of a threat to actually force him to not get the pick right now. Hold on, Edgar.
Sasua's being chased down the corridor, and Sasua isn't going to have the luxury of a pallet to go down. Okay, maybe a luxury of 1 pallet to go down, right? But, like, you're stuck in the corner here. I think you can get this pick before it can be made into the pallet, and it was so close yet so far. That penalty really proving to be everything here as match point goes the way of Catalyst. And now all they need is 1 more set, and they have secured themselves an upper bracket spot.
What an insane match, though. Looking really, really close to potentially pulling off a tie if it wasn't for that penalty, honestly. Oh, man, Edgar.
And now we just get the extra stages to confirm it as well. My lord.
That's right. That's right. Grenaut just takes the out here. And, yeah, unfortunately, that half-stage penalty really, really hurt them. Unfortunate for Umbrella here. They put up a hell of a fight, though. I have to give it to them. That was some insanely intense endgame madness right there. No pun intended. Pun intended, actually. There you go. Anyways, yeah, no, really insane
You're sounding
stuff.
increasingly like Direwolf every day, and I mean that as an insult. But by the way, like fully intended.
Do you want to get black carded, buddy? All right. Anyways, we're moving on. We're gonna move on to the 3rd set, which is gonna be another. It's gonna be the first one of the gold standard. We're moving away from the All Hallows League special rule set and moving on to the gold standard, which is gonna be Plague on Dead Dog Saloon. It's Catalyst pick, so we get to see something pretty interesting here. That being said, we're loading in right now with Mad 05 on the side of the Plague here with Skang, Derice, Grenaut, and we're waiting for our 4th. We're actually changing out Sasua for someone else potentially. So we'll have to wait and see who it's going to be. But right now, so far, insane matchup right here. Yes, Catalyst is so far in the lead with 2-0, but at the same time, Umbrella is putting up a massive fight. They are not letting these sets go down easily. Okay, it will be Sasua again. So I think just had to get something set up straight before we load in here. But we will have Sasua back on the survivor side here of Umbrella. I'm hoping to see something pretty crazy because honestly, Dead Dog Saloon has been an interesting pick for some killers recently. We've seen Unknown on Dead Dog recently as well. We're seeing Plague a lot more on Dead Dog. I think it's a really interesting map, honestly. For these killers.
Yeah, that it is. It kind of invents a. It is such a unique map, I would say, that it warrants essentially being like a specialist set. If you're being honest, in my opinion, like I would compare it best to Larry's, right? Whenever you go to Larry's, it's kind of a specialist set. You know, you're on something like the Leatherface in AHL, or you're on Ghostface under like general gold standard balancing. And then you go over to the Dead Dog, and we all have very fond memories of Singularity 3 gens. We will not talk about the Singularity 3 gens. But Plague plays in a kind of similar way, if we're being completely honest, right? We've had some absolutely disgusting 3-gen setups around Gallows, and at that point as Plague, well, your life's pretty simple. Juke on the Gallows gens. And what the survivor's going to do? Work on them they're injured. They're broken the entire game. Like, okay, now what? Use a pallet. Okay, I'm gonna break it. And like, there's only so many pallets in that specific corner of the map. Run to main building. Okay, I'm gonna return back to my 3-gen. The key here, which is, it's not really a law in fairness. It's just kind of like sort of common sense, but also something that I've noticed over time. Survivors have to. Obviously, every survivor team wants to avoid a 3v1, right? Like that's a given. When you have such a 3-genable set, you have to avoid a 3v1. You have to do everything possible. I don't care if you give like 4 injuries and like 7 hook stages. You cannot let one person get tunneled out early, because if you have 3 people and a tight 3-gen, it is physically impossible to break it if both teams are playing perfectly. When it's 4 people that are still alive, no matter how tight the 3-gen is, no matter what killer it is, 4 survivors can break that 3-gen with enough effort and enough patience. 3 simply can't do it. So I'm really looking to see how long we can delay that tunnel out for, because it's going to be everything. Or if Matt even opts to control the 3-gen. Right now we're going to see a pretty standard Plague setup, which is monkey see, monkey do. If I see an object that the survivors can interact with, I'm going to puke on it. Much like me at 7 years old, 2 a.m. in my parents' room for whatever reason.
Yeah, very well said, honestly. And I don't know if you noticed this, but there was a bit of a 3-gen over by the water tower. I'm sure there's a tighter one over by Gallows. That's usually where the 3-gen spawns on this map. It's usually a very tight 3-gen in Gallows. Even if Deja Vu tells you, hey, there's a very tight 3-gen over by water tower, there's usually a tighter one over by Gallows. So we do pick up our power pretty early.
Oh,
We're actually
seriously?
go for injuries here instead of infections. So that's really interesting here, how we're playing for this very early on. I'm not sure if I agree with this or disagree with it, but I'm going to let Matt cook. And oh my goodness, we barely missed that onto Darius there. And we're actually going to take that injury right there. He's already used his life, so there's no really getting away from this too quickly. And oh my goodness, this is already looking pretty scary, Edgar. This is going to be a down very early on. We're going to get a down on the pallet. Kind of scare Matt into thinking there's a pallet save nearby. There might be. Oh my goodness. Okay. Whew. It was a bluff. And Matt didn't fall for it at all. He was just like, I think you're bluffing me, buddy. I'm just going to pick. Good luck with that. So it worked out for him very well.
Where's the gem pressure? That's my question. Because you have essentially, but like, I don't think this is a bad playstyle necessarily, where you get an early corrupt and you actually don't incentivize the wild purges. I mean, it's more entertaining for sure, but from a strategy perspective, it's fine to go for, but you do sacrifice early gen pressure to do it. For the survivor side, the moment that the corrupt purge is taken and one person is locked in chase, everyone should be splitting gens or even doubling them up in dangerous sections of the map while they're not infected, while there's no risk of being infected because they're actively in chase with someone else. Instead, it's just one generator being completed over in the corner of Gallows, and Grenout and that was by Sasua, I believe. Grenout and Skeng weren't working on any. So you had a great opportunity where the killer just wasn't pressuring the generators, but you didn't really take advantage of it on the survivor side.
Also, crazy thing here is, by the way, Edgar, it's the down came in at 1 minute 41 seconds, which for most killers, that's not really fast. Plague, that's really fast, actually. That's a very fast first down. But also considering that is the fact that our Plague Mad here, it didn't really play to infect all of the gens and whatnot. He mainly just played for a very fast first chase, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
Ideally, though, I think that getting everything infected is probably a better idea, just to kind of like really get pretty much like a Temu corrupt going. But it seems like this actually worked out really well. I don't think that the survivor side here was really expecting that to happen. So they kind of just stealthed out the corrupt for a while Darius was in chase. So really good pressure here from Mab. We do get the down as well. That's going to be Darius going on a second hook, unless the survivor's here for a pallet save, which nobody is. That's so unfortunate. Pain res is going to get used. So we're about to lose a lot of pressure on, I believe, the main building generator here. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Main building generator, I should say, going to be hit with a pain resonance, along with, I believe, there was an eruption earlier onto a couple of these mid generators. It seems like any pretenses of a super strong 3-gen have been broken. Even if one of those gens happens to be on top of the saloon, like, it's on top of the saloon. And that one's actually going to get completed right in Mad's face. We still have Grenau, who's healthy. This means that Grenau, weirdly enough, is the one player that can actually just get a safe unhook. And now the pendulum swings a little bit differently, where when infections start happening, it's the infected survivors who are safer on gens. Grenau, of course, going to be taking that last infection. Because I feel like, obviously, I'm not saying this would be an official thing we should do. It would take far, far too long. But first down timers, obviously, always fantastic. For Plague set specifically, I'm interested in, like, first infections, and then also, like, when the survivors end up getting fully infected. And Sasua's cleansing as well. Okay. I do hope that they plan to actually pick their ice here, and they end up doing it, because Sasua at the last second, that's why they cleanse. That makes a lot more sense now. Grenau was the bait all along, and Sasua trades to save Darice's life. What a heroic friend.
Yeah, very interesting save here. That strategy was quite interesting. Sasua actually cleansing while Grenau baits the save right in Mad's face. That worked out exceedingly well, actually. I was like, hey, Grenau, you're the only person who can save right now. Why the heck are you doing a gen that's infected right in Mad's face? What are we doing here? But instead, I think we were all kind of fooled here. That was really, really solid stuff right there. Nice to see that we have some interesting coordination here coming in. That being said, we're taking the chase over the main building. Now that the gen's popped, this is an entirely safe area to take a chase here. And Nat05 actually going to be following up on the chase here. We have two different survivors at main building, so this is a lot of pressure to be gained. But at the same time, there's two gens left. We're in a good position here on the survivor side, so opting to leave and actually go check our gens over on the gallows. We see a crow leave. We know someone's here. Okay, very nice dodge coming in from Skang, actually. We actually dodged that. That's insane.
Yeah. And eventually the cookie crumbles, quite unfortunately. But I'm really impressed with the survivors for having been able to stop that tunnel out from happening. Even if Skeng takes a fresh hook here, I feel pretty confident. You know, you're in a position where Darice was like seconds, milliseconds almost, away from being dead and you being in a 3v1. And remember what I said earlier about the 3v1 essentially being like worse than death, or tantamount to death in a set like this. Not going to be a problem for these survivors anymore.
Yeah, very true. Plague is another one of those sets that really requires a lot of coordination, and having a survivor die early on will spell a 4K pretty early. So definitely want to be careful with that, because Plague is extremely good at holding 3 gens, probably more than a lot of other killers on the roster. So keeping their eyes alive there, getting the rescue at the very last pixel of the sacrifice timer was definitely really imperative, and really well done by our survivors here. Grenau and Sasua really able to pull that off. That's very wonderful stuff, honestly. That being said, we do actually see the unhook come off in the background. Skang is rescued, and now we're following someone's scratch marks. Not entirely sure who, but we can guarantee one thing: they're definitely infected, because everyone is, and it's actually Sasua. So we actually find the we actually find the rescued survivor here. Sasua playing the water tower pallet, threatening the oh my goodness, that's gonna be another one. Oh my goodness. The last gen's almost done, Edgar. This is getting very close to all 5 gens completed.
I mean, yeah, but unfortunately, I think Mad's going for the wrong one. Walks over to Gallows gen, like, what, someone's gonna be here? Okay, the answer is yes, it's heavily progressed. But in the meantime, on the other side, it turns out the survivors are splitting gens, and so any second now, I said any second. Okay, there we go. You know, you try your best to get to aura farm in moments like this, but the survivors are doing our jobs for us. Getting everything completed now. Mad, it's about damage control, right? if you're able to get Gren out here, that honestly puts you in a pretty fantastic spot. You'd be able to get out of this with like maybe 9, 10 stages at the very end of things. And, well, lo and behold, the Gren out, the one survivor that, you know, cannot really go down for risk of giving over way too many stages, is the one currently actively in chase. Fortunately doing a really good job here, and meanwhile every single survivor is body blocking as much as humanly possible. Sashua, of course, would be a far less valuable hook, but Mad just gonna immediately take it. So it is now all but confirmed that Skeng and Dereist are going to be leaving, keeping their hook stage intact, and then more importantly Grenau needs to have their hook stage intact. But
oh no!
But you're just not! But you're just not! Why is no one here to body block?
Also, why were we just dropping out the open with no eyes on them, on where Mad was? Well, we last saw him walking into the saloon. Why would we just drop out in the open? I don't know, honestly, Edgar, but that led to a massive misplay, unfortunately, for Grenell. This is a humongous change.
Two-man save
here.
is still very
We're here
good.
for the...
Yeah, that's what I was saying. A two-man save is still very doable, right? So the idea that Grenau would just die, probably not, in a sense of this. That being said, it is getting a bit more dangerous. Skeng's broken now, so Skeng's definitely going to have to, you know, run for the hills. In the meantime, Mad can sort of just stand here menacingly. Honestly, we are relying on the Survivor's Cleanse again. And no, okay. Skeng and Dereist might be time to cut your losses. And, oh wait, Grenout can play for the hatch because the final thing is done, but you close it in time!
Yikes! Okay, all right, man. He's ready for a hatch play. That's going to be, 10
That's
stages.
11 stages. Oh, sorry, yeah, 10. I can't do math. No, it's 10 stages. Yeah, you're correct.
That's still
stages.
very good. That's
wow.
Very good for Plague. Plague should not be 4King, so 10 stages is really solid. This essentially forces you to get a 4K, and then you're 11 stages for fresh. That's basically 4K.
No, it's 9. It's 9. Neither of us can do maths, sadly. You know what? Happens to the best of us, right? But yeah, it's going to be 9 stages at the end of things. We were so caught up in the moment, guys. You know, it just happens to a couple of handsome young men like ourselves. Isn't that right, Rob?
Absolutely.
Yes, but yeah, no. So just to elaborate on the hatch rules a little bit, hatch escapes only count if all of the generators are completed. Because all the gens were completed, had we seen that escape come out through the hatch, it would have been completely fine, and it would have only been 1 stage given over to the killer. Instead, they're able to just slam it down in the nick of time. And therefore, those 2 stages went the way. And that's not insignificant, right? A jump from what would have been 7 stages to 9 stages is a really, really big deal here. And now, I mean, all eyes are on the Survivor team of Catalyst now to do what they can and to make something happen. I'm interested to see exactly what play style they might come out with, whether, because what we saw there from their killer side. What I saw there from their killer side was the, you know, early pressure on the corrupt, not really going for infections, just kind of saying, if I get a first down soon enough with my corrupt purge, and then obviously I just infect them on the hook, then that's going to start a chain reaction. You know, someone has to come for the unhook. No one wants to cleanse. They have to work on generators, and in the meantime, the infection will spread.
Yeah, very well said. Very well said. Yeah, we get to see the opposite come in now. Hopefully, we have an equally crazy result. I'm interested in it, honestly, Edgar. Yeah, honestly, 9 stages for fresh is pretty insane. Still a very good result. I originally thought it was 10 stages, but I think my eyes just fooled me, honestly. But yeah, honestly, pretty insane result. So
I think you know what? We had, you know how when we went trick-or-treating earlier, Rob, and it said we should only take 1 candy from the bowl, but we both took 2 instead. And then we
yeah, that's probably what it was, honestly.
And it's the sugar rush. It caused us to lose our focus, you know. As a reminder, if you are out trick-or-treating and someone does have a sign to take one piece of candy, only take one piece of candy, right? Otherwise, you're a terrible person, and I wish you the absolute worst.
Fair enough. Yeah, my greed is exponential.
It is the
Um,
greed they spoke of in the Bible. It is very,
absolutely.
very unfortunate. But yeah, again, all eyes are on Catalyst now, where they close out with a 3-0, or we get our first series today, which ends up not necessarily going the distance, but going on for more than 3. We don't want it to be a kind of 3-0 by daylight kind of day. Of course, we still have another matchup after this, Petroleum versus Exodus, for the final matchup of the day. So again, we are here for a very, very long time, ladies and gentlemen. Plenty of time to be killing, and it's a fantastic way to spend. I say Saturday night, but I've been here since like Saturday afternoon, and we'll be going into the deep hours of the night as well. So of course, thanks everyone for watching and supporting. Of course, the big thing on everyone's mind is the LAN event. We are, of course, still accepting contributions for that to happen, to make the dream come true, so to speak. So exclamation point LAN, and anything that you can contribute is going to be greatly, greatly appreciated.
Very well said. We would love to see the land happen and other future projects with some future similar projects. That'd be really nice to see. So well said, Edgar. I, for one, am very much looking forward to the land. I would love to see it. I would love to go to it, and I would love to see a lot of other awesome people at the land. So,
Would you fly out to Germany if the LAN went ahead?
of course,
Oh my god! Oh my god! That's so nice.
that's the current plan. I would
We
love
can
to.
share an apartment together. It would be so
Oh,
cute.
thanks.
But
It would. It
unfortunately,
would.
I only got one bed to save us money. Is that okay?
We can put our Minecraft beds next to each other, Edgar.
Yeah, still waiting on the players. Still waiting on the players to get through into the lobby here. I give a lot of credit to the survivors of that matchup for breaking the 3 gen so early, but I do think that their early game gen pressure was a bit lacking. It's as I was explaining before. You can either go for like one of two hard styles as the Plague, or you can do a hybrid of both, which is essentially the balance of, do I play for Infections or do I play for the Corrupt Purge? Generally, if they're running things like I believe the Devotee's Amulet, or Apples or anything like that, then they would be playing around the Corrupt Purges, the ability to get more of those Corrupt Purges, to have the Corrupt Purge last longer as well. Whereas if you're maybe playing with something like the Hematite Seal, or the kind of emetic potions or things like that, you're playing instead around the infections. So that kind of informed what we saw today, because we had an apple and a devotee's amulet, meaning, okay, well, we go in, we utilize these add-ons to the best of their ability to get those corrupt purges and just try and use those. Now I want to see whether we go for more the vile purge, the infections in that sense.
Yeah, it's kind of something we were a little bit lacking in the previous match, but it's not really exactly Mad's. I'm not going to say it wasn't his fault. It's more so that he just played for a different play style in the beginning, and it's not like it worked against him, because he did secure a very good result and a pretty early down, considering it's Plague, and Plague usually goes for an early game setup. So things really worked out for Mato 5 for sure, but. Having some early infections definitely would really help out the remainder of the game. Getting survivors infected as early as possible really, really sets the ball rolling for Plague. So, but that being said, also considering that the survivors expect that and will stealth out Corrupt for quite a while and wait for infections to die down on gens, we'll usually see some pretty early stealthing pressure from our survivor team here. But that being said, I kind of like what Mato 5 pulled off in the beginning of the last match, knowing that survivors will be stealthing and just taking an early chase onto Derai's last match was really, really impactful. So honestly, really interesting start to a Plague game last match. But that being said, we're loading into the next match here of the Plague set, and maybe we'll see things in a different vein here. We'll have to just wait and see though. as we're loading in now.
Stages is a pretty fantastic killer result as well for the side of Catalyst. That's something we can say. Two, we've not had a ton of Plague so far, but by look of it, the average 4K rate comes in about the 28-29% mark, with an average of about 8 hook stages per game. So 9 is, of course, ahead of the curve. The 4K isn't exactly expected, but it's very much doable. And also, yes, we have the stats back. It's amazing. We have Valoria on the staff team who is just doing stats like absolutely crazy. As a matter of fact, the 4K percent rate has actually dropped drastically for all killers this season, likely on maybe account of a couple of map changes, one or two of them perhaps. Point is, that's for the future. Right now, we have to focus on who is bringing on 1 apple for an extra pool, but also the hematite seal, as I discussed earlier, in order to get more infections. So Grenau, especially with something like Thanatophobia, definitely isn't going to be chasing aggressively. It's going to puke on every generator and then go back to those generators when the puke's expired and then puke on them again. And basically just do that until something happens.
Yeah, very well said, honestly, Edgar. And we actually have some really we have some gen pressure getting started kind of early in the match. Nothing crazy just yet, but if it goes uncontested, then this could be some pretty good early gen pressure from the Survivor team here of Catalyst. So we'll have to see what's going to happen here. I think this is the gen was being worked in the early game here. Hein probably stealthing off right now, trying not to be found. And yeah. We've puked on a few gens already. Corrupt is already more than halfway gone. And we already got Eruption set up on that gen on the store side.
It's a very strange Corrupt split, don't you think?
It sure is, yeah. Very, very strange Corrupt split. I haven't really seen a Corrupt split like this very often. Kind of just like 3 random gens almost, it feels like.
I honestly think that makes things... I think, honestly, that makes things a bit harder for the survivors, as odd as it sounds, because even though having 3 gens on one side of the map can cause you issues later into the game, like, at least there's one side which you just can't really interact with. Hein being pretty early infection, and an injury for his troubles as well. Let's hope that PC restart has given him enough juice to take a quite long chase here. There is, in the top left corner, the coveted, the infamous Gallows 3 gen, which right now Grenau doesn't seem too keen to play around. That being said, it's very, very early days. Point is, you probably need to control a 3 gen if you're going for the infections. It's not like you're chasing super aggressively. The infections lend itself further towards a 3 gen kind of playstyle. But despite only having a single injury on time, he's gonna pick up an early Corrupt pool. I say, as the Corrupt puke seemed to basically go in between Hein's toenails at that point, and not quite landing out this window either. Now, it's always so risky if you're not able to get the value necessary, but in this straightaway, you should be getting it. What? Oh my god, okay, finally. Whew.
Yeah, I think Grenau was a little bit robbed multiple times there, but you know what? To each their own. Really good plays from Hein there. Definitely was the reason why Grenau wasn't getting the down. Very good plays, honestly. But at the same time, I feel like some of those definitely should have hit in some fashion. But either way, yeah, no, pretty decent down. Coming in not as soon as the last match, but still decent timing here with 244. On the earlier side of Plague downs, but not super duper late into the match either. Yeah, not a terrible first down. We're still 5 gens. Palaloop does actually get infected because Hein is fully infected, so the rescue means that Palaloop does get infected here. We have a couple of eruptions set up around the map again, and right now we're just looking to get maybe another injury, another down, get another hook stage, and try to catch up with that 9th stage 4 fresh Tycon.
The crucial point for the survivors here is not getting exhausted. I mean that in a physical and mental sense, to be honest. Right? You know, when you're playing against a killer who is gunning for a 3 gen like this, as we do see a quick hit come out onto Drago and possibly a second one.
Okay.
Not able to get the lights off in time. Would have also propped the dance with me. Could have been a bit more elusive to track down as well. So I'll hold the thought that I had before, because actually things are looking really good for Grenout right now. Hein down. We're going to get another pain resonance here. You are stacking up the Thanatophobia, which is, to be honest, a bit, like, not very good until you're able to get everyone infected, at which point it's, you know, kind of nasty. Before returning back to the Gallows 3 gen that we all know and we all love. Wondering if we're going to get a reset here onto Drago, or whether we're going to decide it's not worth it. And this isn't just any 3 gen. We keep calling it the Gallows 3 gen like it's super serious, because, like, yeah, it's super serious. If your balance survivor isn't working on the Gallows itself, that survivor is dead. There are, like, 3 pallets in that corner, and to be honest, all of them are, like, playable around with just M1 mind games. You don't even need a corrupt puke to do it. So don't be fooled by the fact that you see all of these gens around you flying and thinking, man, the survivors are doing fantastic right now. No. They right now are looking at the gigantic, like, 16-ounce ribeye on their plate, and they're just slowly nibbling on all, like, the veg and, like, fries around it before they tackle the real thing.
Yeah, it's really important to mention that, right? Yeah, because we're sitting at 2 gens remaining, but all the gens that are getting completed are not in that 3 gen. So Grenout's about to have the time of his life here shortly once that gen near Water Tower pops, because the only 3 gens remaining will be in that tight little 3 gen over by Gallows, and that's going to be pretty difficult to tackle for a survivor side, especially once Mystic gets found, if it gets found and infected. And we do actually see Hein on the Gallows gen, it sounds like. We hear a Feng Min on the gen, coughing and wheezing and running for her life now. And now Eruption set up on that gen, Eruption set up on the far corner gen as well. And now we just need the gen by the store over here next to Shaq as well to be... Oh, and we do actually get this one infected as well. So I believe Mystic was trying to work this gen, but is going to be infected if he decides to hop on it. Full Thanatophobia stacks coming in soon.
Yeah, Mystic currently not injured, but of course working on that generator is going to have to deal with that at some point. Thanatophobia will kick in. And also, just to survive here, Palup is going to have to greet these pallets. That's an eruption on everything in the 3-gen split. Oh, it's absolutely horrific for the survivors to have to deal with. Plus a pain res within the Gallows 3-gen. Like... what do you even do here, man? Grenout does not have to leave, like, this cactus. Like, you know, if it weren't full of spikes, Grenout could just become a tree hugger right now and literally just hold on to it until, you know, eventually someone is forced to step up and do something.
Yeah, and I think Hein's pain res was already used, but at the same time, a hook in this 3-gen is still extremely powerful for Grenout here. We do get the down as well. Eruption's off cooldown, so we can go and just start kicking all these gens again. And this gen right here does have a lot of progress, but at the same time, I mean, we're still in the 3-gen here. It looks like we will pop that gen over by the water tower, but that's not really going to amount to much of anything here. Because we're still in the 3-gen. Hein is downed in it. Palup is trying to take the chase away, but getting the down is still going to set off Eruption in that Gallows area. They do double the gen near water tower, but again, it doesn't really amount to much of anything. We're going to take him right back into the 3-gen as far as we can, which is just, oh, it's just so tough. Edgar, Grenout is playing this magnificently.
Also, Hein is like the only one that can work the Gallows safely on account of having balanced landing. The problem is, I haven't seen it anywhere, but it's really hard to use balanced landing when you're sitting on the floor, so someone has to come in for the pickup, which is going to be Drago. And now Mystic goes down just about on this pallet. Again, everything right now is just built around taking Grenout as far away from the 3-gen as humanly possible. But remember, you need to play for outs as well, you know. It's not like you can just gun for a 4K0 and win. Now that we're... okay, can I do maths this time? Now that we're at 5 stages accumulated from the survivors, they have to be very careful of how many more they let go.
Yeah, very well said. Also, Drago is the one working this... this Gallows gen. Does have Lithe up and ready to go, but even then, don't know, Edgar. This is a very, excuse me, very tough 3-gen to crack.
You're getting sick as well. That's what the plague's doing to us.
Oh,
You're getting infected, bro.
Attack of thanatophobia. Oh my goodness. That's so rough. Survivors have it hard enough as is. Now they got 5 stacks of thanatophobia. That's so bad. Okay. All right. Anyways, yeah, no, really tough 3-gen to crack, honestly. Grenade is just playing this like to the best ability that he can, just keeping a lot of pressure on the 3-gen. And I mean, the survivors are playing this extremely carefully now. They are running at first sight of the terror radius, and Hein did not have balance landing up this time. We actually heard the grunt of falling on the ground from height. So no balance landing in play. Polyloop actually does the Pathetic Cleanse. So now that's a stack of Thanatophobia gone. All the good that that's going to do, we'll have to see. Eruption does go off on the Gallows gen, and now we're getting a second stage on the Hein. So now we're sitting at 6 stages for Fresh. We're getting a little bit closer to that win condition here. If we just play in this 3-gen, it's going to get dangerous for the survivors here.
And what other choice do they have aside from to play in the 3-gen? I honestly think like this kind of setup, especially with the stages that have been given, this is unbreakable. With the fact that basically every pallet in this area has been used, you have to delay long enough and play patient enough to get the regression limits to like do something for you, right? I'm not sure you're gonna be able to do that. No! What? Wait! No, Mystic, you had a chance. Grenade missed the swing because of the firecracker. But then you were like run into a locker instead of running away and getting to the bottom side of the map.
And we are once again hooked in the 3-gen. This is so bad right now for Catalyst. This is rough, Edgar. You don't want to be in this position at all, ever. We have 3 survivors dead on hook right now. And Drago just got found. He's the last survivor not dead on hook at the moment. I mean, what can you really do? Okay, Hein does in fact have balance landing up, so able to run away, but we just kind of forced it out of Hein and took our eruption on the gen. Every survivor is just splitting up as much as they can, trying to get away from this Gallows, trying to take chase as far away as possible. Now that, okay, this is a mistake from Hein. This is a mistake. You're gonna go down in the Gallows, dead as well. That is so rough. Oh my goodness, Edgar, this is insane. I think this gen's out of kicks.
I think like almost all the gens are out of kicks, if I'm being completely honest. Because also there are eruption procs happening, quite a few of them as well, on account of all these survivors. Like having nothing to work with and therefore going down because of it. God, what do we even do here? Like, I feel like this gen in like the top left corner, like 11 so to speak, you have to sort of just let that one go. Because, like, there's nothing near it to work with. It is the most dead zone of dead zones ever. Which realistically means that you're not really in a 3-gen anymore, you're in a 2-gen. Which is even worse, because, like, Grenade knows how, like, hard it is to work that topside gen. So, like, no one can really touch it. Meaning that the survivors are just going to work, like, Gallows, and then this one, like, close to Shack. And there's nothing that can be done.
He had to double check to see if it was actually out of kicks there. He's just like, are you sure there's no food in the fridge, Mom? Anyways, yeah, we're actually gonna leave and go get our power. I like that the survivors here are taking they're taking cleanses as far away from the 3-gen as possible. Very smart, but it's not really gonna allude to a whole lot because this wasn't actually that far away from the 3-gen. Dead Dog is a rather small map, so whatever you have available, it's farthest away from the 3-gen. You should definitely take it. But I mean, how far do you really get? Not a whole lot of pressure is being gained right now on the gens in the 3-gen. Grenade is playing this perfectly.
Yeah, playing it perfectly, which does mean playing it quite slowly. And we're going to be seeing the survivors cleanse up here. And also hide around some rocks. And also hide around some pieces of wood. Yeah, it's one of those kind of days, unfortunately. You know when you had something that you were going to say which was really clever, but then it just kind of got away from you? Yeah,
Yeah, I do. That's when I usually pass it over to the other caster and just hope and pray they got it. But
Yeah, but that'd be really mean of me to do. I'm
you can do it to
interested.
me. It's fine.
Like they've done it. That like 2 of them have cleansed, 2 of them haven't. I'm not fully sure what the idea of that is. Are they just trying to like bait chase away from the 3-gen? But honestly, if you're the killer, you have no real reason to like leave the 3-gen. Like even if you've left to get a corrupt purge on like a different side of things. Also, why is Hein here? Why is Hein near the killer? Why is Hein not like in the 3-gen where people are trying to bait chase in this? No, hang on. I'm so sorry. People are trying to bait chase in the houses. Why did we put Hein by the houses where people are trying to bait chase into a killer with power?
Hein was, I think Hein was trying to get cleansed, but didn't realize that the killer was going to come right back to that same hole, which is really unfortunate. I mean, it wasn't a great decision in my opinion, but at the same time, I don't think we could have really known for sure. That's the balance landing survivor gone. So this 3-gen is even more dead than it was originally. That is really, really unfortunate, honestly, Edgar. Oh, we barely missed the swing. If Power Loop goes down here, we're looking at a very, very seriously bad position here for the survivors. And this could be Umbrella's first win here as well. We're going to go and puke. Oh, we have a lot of progress on this gen here. But realistically, how do you get out of this situation without giving up more stages? You get the infection on the Mystic here. Drago's infected as well. Okay. I think we're starting to see a point in time where the survivors are really starting to get a little bit impatient and are trying to do something here in time.
Drago's eventually going to be forced over to the water tower, has to drop that, which means that maybe Mystic... Yeah?
If Drago goes down here, that's the win for Umbrella. Drago has 2 stages left to give. They cannot let him die on hook. This is why Grenell left the 3-gen.
Oh.
It makes so much sense.
But then, like, what? Mystic's here to tank a hit? And, well, Mystic doesn't tank a hit, for one. But, like, what are we... What are we doing?
Oh my goodness, Edgar. We just watched a massive misplay. Unfortunately, I mean, like, how could you really, like, I don't even know what to say, honestly, Edgar. This is a position where, like, they were getting very impatient. The gen was getting very close to finish. What do you really do? That's the win for Umbrella. We're going to a full set finally today. Isn't that insane?
We are going to a 4th set. All right, so we aren't stopping the action here in DBDLeague. But yeah, my God, we do get a win here for Umbrella. So they have taken us to 2-1 match point. Of course, still on the side of Catalyst. The set which we are going to have up next is the Hillbilly on Cowshed. If this was a more slower paced set, we're going to have something a lot faster paced for you after a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the Hillbilly as soon as we can. Hello everyone, welcome back to All Hallows League onto the main stage, and Umbrella are slowly but surely working their way back up against Catalyst. Of course, we had that Plague set, quite a protracted affair. Let's go back to something a little more fast-paced, something with a little more swagger to it, which is why we're going to have Darice opening things up on the Hillbilly here. Ready to make some moves, but fortunately Hein making a few more. You've got a lot of parts to work with, and as a matter of reverse priority, we actually see Hillbilly on Fractured Cowshed. Now, we saw a little bit of this on the community night on Thursday. Billy does not get along with the Cowshed very well. So before the Billy 4K race, I want to say was something like in the maybe 50-60% range. Those would be rare in a situation like this, especially if we're able to get a nice done here.
Yeah, what a nice stun on this little seawall here on the edge map here. Honestly, you know, you say what you want about the power event for the update, but honestly, I'm kind of a fan of the seawall. It's an interesting tile, and it leads to some really interesting interactions on the edge map. I think it'd be kind of cool if it spawned in different locations instead of just the edge map, but honestly, right now, I'm kind of a fan of it. I can't lie. Interesting build coming out from Darius' Billy here. We have Eruption, Popular the Weasel, we have Corrupt Intervention, and we are seeing Bamboozle on the Hillbilly. Always a pretty classic pick to get for Hillbilly here. Usually just a way to block windows is usually going to be fine enough, but Bamboozle has been a pretty classic one for a while, and we see some use out of it right now, as you can see. And yeah, no, honestly, very classic Hillbilly build right here in competitive. So we're actually going to take our chase back, go back over to Hein, try to get the tunnel out as soon as possible. We land right on Loop's back and get him down. Can't slug him though because he has no mither. So this is a forced pick unless you want to allow Loop to just continuously get up off the ground. Nice thing about having momentum in the match is the fact that they can pick themselves up consistently. But one thing that I've noticed that is really cool about having no mither is that there's like essentially an extra pallet for our tunnel out chase here. So if Hein gets into some sticky water here, he can kind of rely on Power Loop to take downs for him. But I mean, if he gets hooked as well, that could be another tunnel out. We can actually switch over to tunneling out Power Loop. So to be a little bit of interesting change in the dynamic of this match here, considering Hein was the original tunnel out.
Yeah, Dwight's doing a really good job so far. Of course, they're trying to kind of maintain as much position around here as humanly possible. With Billy, you have a rather long, effective range, we'll put it like that. Even though you can't physically be in every place at once, you can effectively be in every place at once. Mystic, there was either Mystic or Drago that was on that very risky generator. Mystic it was, who was positioned just by the hill working that gen. Feels like there is some knowledge than the survivors that they're not going to be able to get Loop off at least before the second stage, so they're going to have to be a little more flexible. They're going to have to let him go to second. Rice leaves to get the kick. Now, does Rice look over and see? Yes, Drago is right here. Drago needs to run for the hills.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needs to do, especially if he has balanced landing. That'd be a really good position for him to be in. But yeah, no, looks like we're actually just are we gonna camp Loop out of the game here? We're forcing Mystic off the gen here, but we're kind of just maintaining his position here. Hein actually, yay! Oh my goodness, that's still gonna be a down, but my goodness, that was so close. I thought it was gonna be a down with a chainsaw, but nice crouch set coming in from Hein there. Was able to dodge out of that as well. Loop gets rescued in the background as well, so now he's off hook, and Hein will be back on hook. We are actually going to use Live to get way the heck out of this area and get on a gen immediately. Interesting match going on here, honestly, Edgar. Couldn't tell you half of what's going on right now. We're making some very interesting decisions. Yeah, Loop gets off the hook on second stage. He's on death hook right now and runs straight for the gen. Uses Live to get to it quicker, actually. So, very interesting decisions here. I can't really tell you what kind of decision we're making here. But we are.
That's just being an absolute stud right there. I'm going to use my exhaustion to. Okay.
After that absolute Giga Chad snipe coming in from Darius, what an insane play! That's gonna be a death on at 2 gens remaining, Edgar. Holy, what a snipe!
That was literally me in the cutlery aisle after I swallowed like 12 magnets the other day. My lord. Okay. Well, that certainly changes things. We have a really quick... again, we have not yet seen a 4K come out on Couchhead for Hillbilly. So Darius is set up in a really good position to do by virtue of probably using, like, I don't know, Find My iPhone or something directly onto Hallows. It certainly helps. In the meantime, the game is kind of just like in your hands right now. It's not like the survivors can't make something out of it. There's no real 3-gen for Darius to control, but the gens themselves have been thoroughly pressured out. And again, there's eruption procs to go around as well. And Darius really putting the work in so far on the Billy.
Yeah, right now looks like we're just I was gonna say tunneling the last gen. We're doubling the last gen here. The second to last gen here, actually. Excuse me. We have 2 gens left to go. Yeah, this is kind of insane here. We do actually pop the hill gen. We're doubling it at the moment, but now we know where both the remaining survivors are. And it looks like Darius is going to choose to go after Mystic, get our fresh stage here, and so far, pretty good chase here. They're both in this corner, Edgar. This is kind of bad. We do get the heal off, actually.
Or very bad.
No, maybe you're right. Maybe it's very bad. But either way you spin it, we're at 1 gen left. Pretty good position for We're a pretty good position for Catalyst here, all things considered, but an even better position for Umbrella. Umbrella is actually making a pretty massive comeback right now. This is a really good result so far on Hillbilly.
Oh, I think it's a given that Umbrella will be winning this Hillbilly set. With a performance like this from Darius, I don't see how you couldn't. And I think the survivors know it as well. Like, they can't really get out, so they are desperately playing for their win con by just 2-manning this final generator. But, of course, they can't do it. They're forced to scatter. They're so desperate that they're just sticking by the gen as it's getting done. Nice dead-hard, bro. No, not the dead-hard survivor. But, yeah, and now, like, Mystic can't get the final generator done. 4K1 is a fantastic result for a Hillbilly. All the credit to Darius on this one.
Quite frankly, though, I find it really interesting how we didn't put dead hard on the no mither survivor. That's interesting to me. We actually put it on Mystic. So, honestly, it's kind of interesting. A bit of a mind game, honestly, if I do say so myself. And Mystic's actually here for a very early pull. And very much caught out. Oh, I don't know what happened. I think he just put down the chainsaw and went for an M1, knowing he wouldn't be able to get the chainsaw on time. And what? How was I not a hit? Did you just stop it early?
Possibly,
okay.
I mean,
okay,
probably the same reason that wasn't a hit, which is dark magic has infested the corners of DBDLeague. Drago is back on the same Drago is back on the same generator, which before was like 90% done. Now it's at like 50, like just about. So it's not gonna get done. Urban Evasion ain't gonna do a damn thing for you, lady. Sorry about that, Miss Carlson. But yeah, Drago gonna go down. Should be put on the hook sooner rather than later, and it's not a foregone conclusion quite yet. Of course, I have to say, but it's looking increasingly like we will be going over to that 5th and final set.
Yeah, absolutely. This is really good news for Umbrella here. Not just because we see the 5th set, but because they're making a massive comeback at the moment, Edgar. This is really good stuff. 4K1 on Billy. We're reigniting the chaos and the utter strength that Hillbilly sets used to be in the past. I mean, honestly, as of recently, a lot of competitive Hillbilly matches were getting a little bit more outs in them compared to normal. But right now, Cowshed Billy may not be super easy, but Umbrella making it look like a piece of cake, honestly. That was insanely entertaining, I can't lie. And I'm really curious to see how Umbrella handles the Survivor side of this Hillbilly set.
Yeah, utterly fantastic performance there for Darius, and I mean, yeah, it ain't over till it's over, right? We still have a long way to go in this. There is always the possibility that whoever kills for Catalyst can just come out with like a miraculous like insta 4K chaining onto every single survivor for a slug, including the no mither as well for whatever reason. But like we would have to break the laws of the game for that, but it's always possible, right? And then even if we do go to that final set, that's even more of a testament to Umbrella's endurance to be able to get all the way to the end. It will not be a day of 3-0 by daylight, as I was saying before. It's going to be a lot longer. It's gonna be a fun time here on the start of the main stage, and it is what I was saying before. Both of these teams are fantastic teams. Even if Umbrella had to make it through the qualifiers to get here, and even if their winning streak of being undefeated throughout the qualifiers is now over as we get into the main stage, they're still a force to be reckoned with. Whoever goes down to the lower bracket, regardless of who ends up winning here, whoever goes down to the lower bracket is definitely not a team I would count out just yet.
Yeah, very well said, right? They did not lose a single set in the qualification, but now sitting in the All Hallows League main stage, we are seeing them absolutely cook. Well, unfortunately, they did lose the first couple of sets today, but they are starting to come back with a fiery force here. Honestly, Edgar, which is really nice to see because they put up a serious fight getting here into All Hallows League, and now they're coming back against a really solid team that's been around for quite some time as well. It is some lovely stuff to see, honestly, and I'm here for it, honestly. So really cool stuff to see this, and hopefully we'll actually see hopefully we'll see the fifth set with the nurse, and not just the nurse. It's not just a normal nurse set, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be with a special affliction. We talked about them earlier, but we can go over them again. I would love to actually because it's pretty cool. We have one of 5 different afflictions that the teams can see come into the match here. Number 1 being that Hex Haunted Ground gets brought into the match, and the survivors must cleanse the Hex Totem, knowing that it's Haunted Ground. It's an affliction that they have to comply with. If this gets picked, number 2, survivors will be afflicted with Hex Ruin, and they are not allowed to cleanse it at all. Number 3 is no survivor is allowed to drop a single pallet before the first down comes in, which is going to be really interesting if we see that. Number 4 being the only perk allowed in the match by both sides. Both sides will be Corrupt Intervention, and that's it. On a nurse set, by the way, that would be pretty insane. And the 5th and final affliction that can be possibly chosen is that one of the survivors must replace a single perk with no mither. So interesting to see that, honestly. Yeah, these are pretty interesting afflictions. They're going to be chosen at random, so it can be any of those 5 for this next nurse set here, and we'll have to see, honestly. All right, that's enough yapping out of me. It's all you now, Edgar. I yapped for far too long.
You wanted me to yap as I was taking a sip of water, man. It's unbelievable.
Oh, my bad.
How dare you? But yeah, it's whisper sweet nothings into my ear all you want, Robert. But no, yeah, the special rules are interesting on account of the fact that like either they will change everything or they like won't mean anything. You know what I mean? Like I think you were saying earlier, we're seeing Nurse, right? And it's like, okay, well, what if Nurse has Haunted Ground? Okay. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
pretty much, right?
The Nurse is -1 perk for the game. It's like, oh, that's fantastic. Okay then. And then like arguably as well, like the no mither rule. You know, say that it was like a Plague or a Hillbilly, you know, both gold standards in set 5, and we choose like, oh, we rolled the 5th rule where we have to play with no mither, and then the teams just kind of look at each other like, yes, but we were doing that anyway. And it's like, okay, never mind, carry on, lads. But like, I'm thinking stuff like not being able to drop a pallet until the first down has happened. It feels like, you know what these feels like? These feels like monkey paw wishes, you know what I mean? Where like you get like a really good effect, but like a really terrible one as well. It's like that, if anyone in the UK knows like Darren Brown's like trick or treat thing. You pick up a card and either, do you know that one?
I do. I've heard of the I've heard of the monkey pot before, and some of the wacky results. It's almost like the movie the Wishmaster, if you remember that.
Mhm.
Pretty classic horror movie, by the way. I need to rewatch that actually.
A killer
But yeah,
player's like, I want to bring corrupt intervention today, and they're like, wish granted, but you can only bring corrupt intervention. It's like, no.
no, yeah, like the no from Luke Skywalker in Star Wars after finding out Darth Vader's his papa. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna be loading here, loading in here to the second match of the Hillbilly set. Catalyst has a pretty big win condition ahead of them. 4K1 on Fractured Cowshed, not an easy result here, but we'll see if they can actually make this happen. And Joe's been coming back quite a bit here, and we'll have to see if they're going to stay cooking, stay in the kitchen or not, or get out because it's getting too hot. We'll have to see. Grenout's on no mither, by the way, running rocking the dead hard as well, and smash hit, able to last a little bit longer in chase thanks to smash hit on the first chase, anyways. And we will drop that pallet, make some good distance, force Hillbilly to break it, and make our way all the way over to the top side of the map here, it looks like.
There's such like a crazy intersection of how all the pokes interact with each other just based off like the meta game for so long, right? Now, because Billy is like fantastic at slugging and can easily slug an entire team, it's like, okay, well... and also, he doesn't really get his strength, as odd as it sounds, from his chase. He gets his strength from his mobility and his lethality, rather than having, like, a spectacular chase power itself, you know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, well, to stop the slug happening, we'll have a no-mither survivor. And, like, being injured in chase against Billy isn't such a bad thing. But Skeng being down in chase is a very much bad thing. But then that led Billy players to be like, okay, well, now I'm just going to focus the play with no-mither, because they're injured the entire game. And, like, I can probably land one M1 on a survivor, right? And then it's like, okay, cool, so we're also going to put Deadard on him now. But then the killers sometimes, obviously not Drago today, but they also went, okay, well, if we're just going to guaranteed have a survivor injured the entire game, I'm going to bring Fanatophobia along. So you just get permanent regression, and I'm punishing you for playing the game. But then the survivors could counterplay that and say, well, then we're not going to run no-mither, and your Fanatophobia is useless. You see how it all can come together in a span like this, and the metagame just continues to develop and develop and develop. At the end of the day, though, on Billy, you hit your chainsaws and you win. So, let's hit some chainsaws.
Nice stun coming in from Skeng as well, by the way. We're sitting at one stage right now. We got some pretty good gen pressure on the board. Sasua and Dare Ice are doubling a gen at the moment. Grenal's gen is almost finished, getting dangerously close to completion. We're looking at a pretty good position right now from Umbrella at the moment. Trying to just take the death spot, kind of far into the corner here. Far away from all the gens. Really nicely done from Skeng. Unfortunately, we do get Eruption onto Grenal, but it's not really going to matter too much. The gen's going to pop very soon, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Darius and Sasua getting a lot of gen progress as well at the moment. And if they can just pop all 5 gens, we're sitting in a really good spot for Umbrella.
I mean, Sasua's gen will pop, but I'm thinking, like, is there an Elder gen for Darius to work on? Because Skeng's pretty close to death now. We're only about to complete our second generator. Obviously, someone needs to get the unhook eventually. I'm interested to see what Svar's priorities would be here. Whether they split 3 on generators, that'd be fine. Whether maybe they just go for a tie instead. But also, you know, why go for the tie and force yourself into, you know, the tiebreaker 2v1 instead of just trying to get all the gens completed right now. It's an interesting decision, and it looks to be leaning on Drago is able to just hold. Drago is just able to hold Skeng hostage for quite a while. Maybe enough for the cowshed generator to get completed. In the meantime, the other 2 survivors to split on 2 other generators. There is a world here in which Drago probably doesn't stop 1 generator from getting done, but possibly can just stop 2 and get a win here.
Yeah, main bully gen is very, very close to completion. Grenal just takes the distance, gets way, way far away from there. We're going to go and get Eruption up on this gen again, get it regressing as well. Grenal's got the world of distance away from their eyes. Not anymore, though. Nice crouch check there. I don't think the crouch check was entirely necessary, as that was a very wide curve. But either way,
we'll get the Tycon. I'm looking at it. Like, yeah, it is a given. What is this? What are you doing, Sashua? What?
I mean, sitting in a pretty good spot here, honestly. We will see the tie condition, like you said, but quite frankly, what is happening? Oh my goodness, what was that? Okay, very nicely played so far from Sasua. Really juicing Drago's Hillbilly here. This is pretty incredible, I can't lie. Very, very well done. Unfortunately, yeah, that's not hitting, but he is just going to opt to leave and try to stop the last gen from getting completed. Umbrella definitely wants to get this last gen popped, but Catalyst is really, Drago is really, really trying his best here to get us from, to get this a 4K1 and potentially go tiebreaker. Now, okay, hear me out, right? As much as logically it makes sense, Umbrella should really want to get the last gen popped, and we'll see, and we'll go to the 5th and final set, right? You know, the emotional side of me is saying, let's go see the 2v1 again. It's so cool, man. I love, okay, There's only really so much you can do with 50s here. Okay, I love the 2v1 system. It is so sick. I would love to see it again. I got the very first one with Outcast Andrew. It was so much fun. It was actually Mercy v Desperate on Hillbilly on Fractured Cowshed as well. And also congrats to Umbrella. They took the win for the set. We're going to see the 5th and final set. Nurse on Father Campbell's Chapel with the special rule set. That being one of the 5 afflictions. We'll have to wait and see what it's going to be. But man, Umbrella is coming back, Edgar. This is incredible.
Sorry, Rob. Nurse on where?
Father Campbell's Chapel.
Wow. I think I am in fact getting too old for this nonsense now. Goodness me. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, no. Big credit to the survivors here, all the generators. It's likely that they're going to be getting people out of the door as well here. These doors are not in a good spot at all for Drago to deal with. I mean, like. What I would say about this, Cowshed is going to be a bad time for Billy regardless. I think that is a testament to what Darice was able to manage earlier, right? Being able to 4K1 on what is a map where, honestly, even the best of the best killers, right? Like, obviously, Hillbilly's like a very strong killer. But even like your Blights and Nurses, with comp ruled, aren't really expected to 4K1 on Cowshed. In fact, quite the opposite, right? So being able to do that means you're very much ahead of the curve. It's also so different to what we saw early on in this series, right? You know, it looked as if Umbrella were completely down and out, but no, they've been able to come round. They have been able to bring it back here, Umbrella, and things are going absolutely phenomenally. Anyway, we do have an official announcement in, and you know what, Rob? Just because I'm so madly in love with you, I'm gonna let you announce the affliction.
All right. Well, thank you. And because I'm madly in love with you too, Edgar, I will gladly take this opportunity to read it out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we had 5 possible afflictions to choose from here. It can only be one. It's randomized, and we landed on number 4. That being the killer may only bring in the perk Corrupt Intervention, and no other perks on either side can be brought in. That means 4 survivors with no perks, and the nurse only gets Corrupt Intervention. Now, I see this going one way. It's not going to go well for the survivor side on either team. But that being said, both teams have an opportunity to post a better win condition. So I'm really curious as to how this is going to go. This is a very interesting affliction to be faced with. Probably, honestly, if I'm going to say so myself, probably the worst one for the survivor side to have to deal with. Even the pallet one, not dropping a single pallet before chase, before the first down. Even that one is probably going to be better than this one. But I mean, hey, it's up to the teams to deal with this. We're just casting it. It's going to be really interesting, honestly. They will be able to bring all the same offerings and items in, add-ons as well. It's just that no perks besides Corrupt Intervention on either side will be brought in. So, Edgar, thank you for letting me announce the affliction. It's really interesting. I can't believe this is the one we got. That is wild.
The thing is, the caliber of perk that Nurse can bring along is not particularly high, right? Because Nurse is such a strong killer, the balancing is... This is still gold standard balancing. Despite the strange rule, the rest of the balance is still pretty gold standard, right? So Nurse really wouldn't have access to that many good things. You know, the strongest of the strong perks. Like it's gotten to the point where Nurse are using things like genetic limits and like phantom fear. And it's like, okay, cool, but like these aren't bad perks inherently, but it's like, okay, dude, like you're gonna beat me with genetic limits. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, it's just an unfortunate thing of S tier balancing.
Yeah, but to get back to my point, so the Nurse realistically isn't going to lose that much. You lose like your very basic slowdowns, like your corrupt, I believe, your eruption, your pain resonance, possibly like your basic regressions, and that's about it, right? For the survivors, what do we start to talk about? You don't have deliverance. You don't have any exhaustions. You have to deal with a nurse with no exhaustions. You have no deliverance. You can't decisive strike on your tunnel out, so tunnel outs are free. You can't stop a slug with unbreakable. You can't like do anything. You can't do anything, bluntly, aside from just bully out gens for as long as you humanly can, dodge like maybe like 2 blinks at most, because nurses at this level are not missing any more than that, right? And then just play around the items that you're still allowed, like your med kits. Nurse still gets her like best add-ons. Nurse still gets her best add-ons in all this as well. This is going to be like on both sides. It's not even like a case of an indictment of who is playing at any given time, but this is going to be the least fun that these survivors are ever going to have. Genuinely, for the killers, it might feel like playing against like 4 of the bots in a lobby. Again, not because the players suck, but because they just have nothing. There's nothing they can do.
Very well said, honestly. Very, very well said. Yeah, I mean, what can they really do here? This is a lot of pressure on them, quite frankly. Yeah, corrupt intervention, the only perk allowed to be brought in the match. Survivor side gets absolutely nothing, by the way. This is going to be really intense on the survivors on both sides here. But again, you know, it's not really an issue because both sides have to post a better win condition here. So both sides are going to have to deal with the same level of misery. So whoever gets the better result is what matters the most. Not really how much it sucks to go against. All right. But yeah, no, really interesting, honestly. Yeah. Let's talk about the build for a second, Edgar. Corrupt intervention. Anyways, moving on.
You know, it's a really good perk. Anyway, yeah. So about the rest of the game. So it seems like the survivors are opting to stealth the corrupt right now. They don't have the ability to play aggressively. Like they just don't. They can't, you know, gun for a chase with the DS survivor. They can't gun for an immediate unhook with the deliverance survivor. They just don't have the capacity to do that. We're going to out-stealth corrupt. We are back in the 2017 days of comp. Derice is in the basement just because. And yeah, literally no one is going to tap a gen until like it is absolutely necessary, right? And every survivor just has to be terrified all the time. This is where DBD begins to feel like a horror game again, when you strip everything away basically, and there are effectively no perks to deal with, and it's the strongest killer who is just slowly like blinking through the map, and it's literally like a horror film. See him out the corner of his eyes and you have to get a stun. That's the most distance you're gonna make, little bro. Sorry about that.
Oh, unfortunate. Unfortunate. Taking a tag through that pallet stun is really bad. But, I mean, hey, it's Ace. He's really quiet. Hard to hear him. He's pathing pretty well around the... Okay, that was terrifying. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not having really much of anything here to work with. I'm expecting to see a 4K with at least 1 gen remaining. This is a pretty tough set to play, I would imagine. Even like all things considering, right? Even in like community cups where like the perks were randomized and it was all perks that just really didn't benefit Nurse at all, we were still seeing 4Ks. It was pretty tough on the survivors. I mean, now when you take like tier 1 balancing with gold standard, I mean, you know, Nurse usually averages around 50-60% 4K rate, but not having any way to combat the Nurse with like any perks really. Like no deliverance, no decisive strike, you get nothing at all. 4Ks are pretty common against Nurse. Now this is my personal opinion against yours, Edgar. I don't think the Nurse is #1 anymore. I think it's Blight now, but she's still very, very, very strong, and I think she's probably #2 right now. Very close, but I think Blight's #1 now. Either way, though, she's still a very, very strong killer. I just think that her mobility just isn't the best, and it can lead to some difficult matches on bigger maps. But yeah, we get our first down onto Derice. We're doing the pole now, and it looks like we're gonna go for a tunnel out onto Derice.
Yeah, might as well, right? It's not like anyone can body block. It's not like Darice has any say in the matter of whether or not they get tunneled out of the game. Skeng utilizing toolbox to the best of their ability, and the survivors opting to split on generators. So this is brave, mostly because I honestly would have expected them to just like two-man gens at like any available opportunity just to get them done. But now I also realize, yeah, if the nurse catches multiple survivors together, the game's over. The game is literally done. Like, I will turn around, I will like go to the bathroom, and then suddenly I come back. Oh, would you look at that? The nurse has killed everyone again.
You leave me to solo cast for like 3 minutes? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. So now what we can see, Matt, is going back to the generators and yeah, taking advantage. Father Camel's Shovel. It's not like a massive map, but it definitely has a lot of space on it for the survivors to work with, and they're utilizing their distance as best possible. Pre-running, if there's any sign of the killer at all, and forcing them to work for it. Skeng wanted to get a somewhat safe unhook, but is just going to have a trade forced instead.
Yeah, very well said. And yeah, we're gonna go for our tunnel out into their eyes here, and it's looking a little yikes. Okay, that's gonna be a death at 3 gens left. Yeah. What can he really do? Corrupt intervention is just OP, bro. I don't know what to say.
Very good point.
Yeah, it is. And Skeng, we're actually gonna hook around Skeng's body, so it's gonna be another pickup immediately afterwards. So, very hectic start for the survivor side here, but it's to be expected. 2 gens left. We have some really good gen pressure on the board, all things considered. We have another gen with high progress, around 30%. So not too bad at the moment. Things could be kind of expected here to play out pretty well. So Umbrella not in a bad spot here at all. They're fighting tooth and nail for this.
In a strange sense, I feel like because of the limitations that you have, the fact that the game becomes a lot simpler in that sense, not easier. We should get easy and simple, our definitions. It gets like infinitely harder. Your life is over. Sorry, survivors. But it gets simpler because it's like, right, we don't really have to play around like our perks. We don't have to play around like our tunnel outs, our body blocks, our positionings, all that. It is literally like everyone split on gens while the other person tries to take chase in like an isolated area of the map. That's it. That is literally it. And after that point, honestly, the survivors are pretty like fine. Because of that, their gen progress is actually proving to be quite phenomenal. To be honest, and Gren out working on the final gen right now getting some very good progress, while Mad's still obviously a little bit scared of a potential unhook.
Very well said, honestly. And we actually do find Grenout's gen with high progress here, but that means that what a blink! Oh my god, that was insane. Mad05 is cooking right now, trying to be Catalyst's last hope here in the final set here, and pulling out the magical blinks here. That was quite insane. We do get the unhook in the background, so Skeng is back in play here, able to do something here. If Grenout can take this chase far away from this gen, we might actually be able to see the last gen pop. Sasua is on it right now, trying to get as much progress as possible. But we're actually, Mad05's afraid the gen's gonna pop, so we're just gonna blink straight back over there. Holy.
Good instincts. Let's go back over, check on the win conditions as you were. Oh, you also have a 3 gen as well. Just because. On some killers, this isn't a 3 gen. Nurse just has that dog in her and is able to, change elevations like it's nothing. You are, of course, maybe slightly feeling the lack of slowdown. Of course, if you would have something a little better on your side than just a single corrupt intervention, then it would really be in a spot like this. But I think Mad has played for a long time today, and is therefore even more willing to be patient in a time like this. You've played so long already, why not just play for longer? Secure the win, hold this 3 gen, force the survivors to make very bad, very risky decisions.
Yeah, very true, very true. I think this reset right here is a really good decision, though, all things considered. We definitely want to stay healthy in this 3v1 here, and especially with that last gen having so much progress and not able to not able to really pop it without too much contention here. I think getting reset is a really good idea here. It is regressing, but still like around about 50%, 60% progress. And we're just going to hold the blink. Okay, this is dangerous right here. Holding this blink right here in oh, you can see all 3 gens. That's so bad. Okay, this is scary for Umbrella. We actually okay.
Average comp match.
Skeng's like, chase me. Let me take you away from the gens. Come on, I'm right here. And okay, Sasua's starting another gen. This is good.
Yeah. Oh lord. Okay. So now Mad is in like an interesting spot. Not because like Mad is scared necessarily, but because you obviously have to think about the fact that, you know, everyone is lurking in the wings. You know, the survivors are little ants that will crawl all over the generators if you like even give them an inch. They will take a mile off you, right? And it seems like Mad's actually struggling to keep the control everywhere right now. I think that point you mentioned earlier about the mobility of the Nurse is reasonable. Even though Mad isn't struggling to get between any of the gens individually from the other gens, if you have to leave the 3-gen split to go find and down a survivor, you're not able to do that instantly, then someone else will be waiting in the wings to just, you know, polish off some gen progress.
Very well said, honestly. And right now it's back on this high progress gen. Sasa was taking the chase away. Mad05 is just constantly harassing the gens here, making it very, very difficult for our survivors to pop any gen or even get even just a little tiny bit amount of progress here. But that being said, that also means that Mad05 is not really committing to any single down. So we're just kind of chipping away through the regression events and getting resets off until we're no longer able to actually kick the gens anymore. So eventually Mad05 is going to have to commit to a chase and play for stages here at the end of the match. Actually, speaking of, Grenad's taking him all the way up in Chapel side, all the way up in Circus side, actually. Nice dodge. It's going to result in a tag, though, but that was almost... Oh, what a weird transition. That looks so, like, cinematic. It looked like a video game trailer from like a gameplay trailer for a new video game. It was kind of weird. It was kind of cool looking. Can't lie. But we do take a hook. Ground is now gonna mark the 5th stage here for the survivor side of Umbrella, and we're gonna blink back up to main building. We don't really see anything going on here besides just like about 50% progress here.
The problem with being in the 3v1, you can see right there, it gave Mad a window of opportunity. With Skeng and Sashua injured, Mad knew that they had to heal up, right? Like, they had no other option they could do safely. 4v1, there's someone else in the background just be working on the gens. Now, in the meantime, you can get Skeng and Sashua, again, like, you have to play around keeping your friends alive, and yourself, clearly, if your name is Skeng. But, the opportunity just presents itself to get a chase, to actually deviate from that 3-gen a bit. You can just continually pile on hits, pile on pressure, and in 3v1, you're going to be able to generally outmatch whatever the survivors can put out.
Quite frankly, even though this is a pretty decent 3-gen for a Nurse, Umbrella is handling this 3v1 magnificently well. This is kind of insane, Edgar. I'm a big fan of how Umbrella is playing this. They're playing this very slow. They're taking resets as much as they need to. Okay,
well, not always slow.
Yeah, not always slow, but slow when they need to. This is really good from Umbrella. Catalyst is definitely struggling a bit here, for sure. Not having the best Nurse game of their lives, that's for sure. Umbrella is making it very, very difficult for any sort of progress to really happen in the Nurse's favor here.
Yeah, tension's just building here, more and more as the game drags out longer and longer and longer. You have to be more and more worried about where the survivors are, the fact they're resetting, the fact that, oh no, I haven't checked the main building gen in quite a while. However, right now you can just be in your happy place, which is the church window. Amen to that.
We're right back here, sitting at the church window, waiting for someone to touch the gen. And yeah, I mean, like you said, it's definitely Matto5's happy place, so he feels pretty comfortable right here. But yeah, we are slowly losing regression events here on this gen specifically. But I mean, we're kicking every gen, so we're losing regression events pretty much everywhere. And I think this is Umbrella's plan here. They're just trying to take chases really far away, lose regression events on the gens so that they can no longer be kicked. And oh my goodness, this is insane. They've caused Mad to miss like, I think like 5 or 6 blinks now. That is wild. Oh,
Mad, that is a horse, not a person. We're not allowed to do that in 2025. Yeah, like Mad's in a really rough predicament. Actually, you have to be hitting all those blinks, and now again, it's exactly what I said earlier. You need to think constantly. Well, now the main building is the thing that I need to look at. But meanwhile, Skeng is picking up the gen in the gym. During all of that, Grenau is still working the gen from before, and now everything's just going a bit chaotic. Finally, you get your down. Finally, you're locked in. Problem is, I think that Sasua completes this last gen in time.
yeah, I mean, we have 2 different gens with high progress right now. Grenad's actually trying to bait, yeah, and not falling for it. Grenad is trying to bait the chase away while Skeng sits on hook. So that's going to be a really fast pull, and Grenad's right back on this gen in the jungle gym. Sasua is taking the chase away from main building with the most progress. So I imagine Skeng will probably be getting on that one. And now, I mean, we're in a pretty interesting spot. Sasua is playing this a little bit interesting. Okay. All right, unfortunate for Sasua. But if they pick, that's going to be a pop, I think. We're going to pop this gen in main building. So I think a good hook position is all really Matto5 can get out of this. Skeng's probably already on a door, getting ready to start opening it. Yep, look at that. Boom, already on it. Trying to get the heck out of here, bro. Wow, Umbrella is handling this perfectly. What an insane preview one.
Yeah, they've been incredibly patient. They've taken it at a very careful pace, and it's definitely paying off for them, right? They've been able to complete every single generator. The question comes as to, can we get stages out the door for Sasua? Because it's seeming more and more like as time goes on that we are increasingly looking at this coming down to stages rather than gens necessarily. So we're going to have it end off here. Skeng, Sasua end up getting this out. Skeng and Grenau end up getting this out the door as Derice and Sasua end up falling. And yeah, really, really phenomenal Survivor performance.
Yeah, very, very, very well played from our survivors of Umbrella here. Quite frankly, 9 stage 4 fresh, not what I was expecting from a nurse match with only corrupt intervention. I was expecting full 4Ks. Like honestly, that was really, really patient, really efficient. I mean, we just played this extremely well on the survivor side. So hats off to Umbrella for such an insane performance. And now we have to switch the sides here. We have, okay, all right. This is where things get really interesting. A lot of you already know this name, so it should come as no surprise at all that we're going to be seeing Autumn Sadness on the nurse for Umbrella.
Uh-oh.
It's going to get really interesting here.
Guy. It's the nurse guy. Okay. Yeah.
This is leading in Umbrella's favor, I would say. Go ahead. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the dreams of Catalyst might be over now. Not to pile on that kind of pressure onto Autumn Sadness or anything, but it's hilarious. They literally keep him like it is literally like a super weapon that they just keep in the background. Like for any emergency, and it'll be like we're being overrun. What do we do? And it's like call Autumn Sadness, and it just picks up Nurse. It gets a 4K3, and then just like goes back into hibernation again. We only see Autumn Sadness come out to play the Nurse. That's it. I don't think I've seen him play Survivor. I don't think I've seen him play a killer that isn't Nurse. They literally just keep him on the roster to be like, hello, we need a nurse player, and it's like, don't worry, guys, I got this. It's actually insane.
Yeah, I mean, no discredit to Mad because Mad played really well on the nurse, like no discredit at all. But Autumn Sadness has a reputation in the competitive DBD community as an insanely cracked nurse player. So, yeah, unfortunately, it's just going to be. If what happens is what I expect to happen, then it's going to be very much in the side of Umbrella here. They're going to take this set. I mean, it's just the expectations here from a name as iconic as Autumn Sadness. So, yeah, I imagine the teams are going to be taking quite a while to get their builds set up.
We actually need to give them 30 minutes to strategize as to what they
They're
may
gonna
bring to a matchup.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
this.
Exactly.
It's an intense win con. It's a very intense win con, but I feel like the survivors did a really good job there. I feel like this is something which should kind of like I feel like that very much could have ended 4K, but like the survivors were able to get Sages out the door anyway, so it's a testament to them. Right now, it's still just very close to call.
Yeah, very well said, right? Um, insane work here from our survivor team of Umbrella. And now they bring in, like you said, their super weapon. They're releasing a weapon of mass destruction onto the poor survivors of Catalyst, unfortunately. And I mean, we also have to give some credit to Catalyst. They have really good survivor players. Mystic lasting for 3 gens against Umbrella's Doctor. I mean, that was really impressive, right? You do not want a first chase that lasts that long. So we have very strong survivor side on Catalyst, but we also have a really strong killer player in Autumn Sadness coming in on this nurse set. So it's oof. As much as the expectations are really screaming out to me here, it can go either way. But that being said, we have to give some massive credit to Umbrella for how insanely patient and well they played that 3v1.
Mm-hmm. And the entire game, to be honest, we saw it at the very start when they were stealthing out the corrupt intervention. It's going to be a similar kind of idea here. The problem is that Autumn Sadness exists. Like we
True.
saw some fantastic hits come through from I think you were saying earlier. We saw like a couple fantastic hits, but if we're being blunt, we also saw some kind of like strange misses. Some things, especially how close to this matchup ended up being, where it's like, well, if we were able to hit this one blink at this specific time, then like we could turn our fortunes around. We could be completely fine. However, I don't think Autumn Sadness is going to be missing those blinks, or at least it would be very rare if they did. This isn't an official stat, this is just a personal stat, as we immediately run into the basement, as you do. I've casted a couple of Autumn Sadness Nurse games, like about like 4 or 5 or so. I have never seen them lose at Nurse. Never. Even when like they didn't even set a fantastic win con. Like, it was just better than the other teams anyway. So
yeah, that's just how it really goes, right?
There is like some amount. How do I put this nicely? There is a little bit of poo in Survivor pants right now.
Yeah, I would imagine just a little bit, right? Okay. Oh, what do you even do there?
There is a lot. There is a lot actually.
Okay, that first down came in at 39 seconds. Okay, that's really bad.
At least Corrupt is gone. At least Corrupt is gone. Oh, and it's a basement. But someone was hiding in the basement.
Oh,
you can drag down.
Oh, he's
okay.
Out.
Yeah, this made enough. Yeah.
Okay. He said no thanks. Uh-oh. Nurse is looking right in front of Poly Loop, not going anywhere. Unfortunate. But we'll see the spectator bug get fixed here soon, I imagine. It probably won't be long before Autumn Sadness gets a hit and fixes the spectator bug. But yeah, oh my god, what an insanely good position to be in this early in the match. We have a down in basement and corrupt intervention, albeit while you only got 39 seconds of value, the real value, even though Edgar and I are joking around that it only was like just a little bit of corrupt intervention value.
Real value was friends we made along the way.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly what I was gonna say. No, I'm just kidding. Corrupt Intervention is really, really good, even on killers that get extremely fast downs, because it forces survivors into the map towards the killer. That's what the value really is. Sure, that's 3 gens that get blocked in the beginning for 2 whole minutes, but realistically, if that's the only value you're really getting in this match, you're not really getting any value at all, because I mean, quite frankly, the whole purpose is just to kind of crowd survivors in towards the killer and work the closer gens instead of the farther gens, because you don't want survivors.
Sorry, Carl.
You don't want survivors to sit on the first gen they see. That's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, I would agree. What I was going to say is, I like the idea, even though it definitely was. I like the idea that wasn't a spectator bug. Autumn Sadness was just face camping that obscenely hard, like for the time.
Explains why they didn't get the same yet.
Yeah, literally just like went to go get a sandwich or something, but no, clearly not the case anymore. I think, yeah, just playing for the 4K, right? Got such an early down and such an early hook onto Hallows that you know that you can very easily get a tunnel out or minimum a camp out here, right? You don't have a harsh 3-gen around Shack, which would kind of be perfect for you to work with, but like you're feeling fine, and I think at this point you can feel pretty confident that no one's going to interrupt you. Easiest read of your life onto Mad, who's falls in the corner of the map and ends up going down. Has a rotation been able to come out onto Palais Loop?
I really hope so for Catalyst. No, he dies in patience. That's so bad. Okay, this is quite frankly, I don't know if it's doable at this point. You know, you have 2 gens left, which is really good. But at the same time, you have a survivor dead, another one on hook, and it's Autumn Sadness on Nurse. Like, bro, what do you even do here?
You have to pray. That is the answer. You have to pray to whoever you hold dear that he decides to not come into your house and kill your entire family as the nurse. This is a tough one, for sure. Like, I think it's just over. I genuinely think it's just over. Of course, we'll wait until the official score comes in, but Drago's stuck in the corner. Mystic's had to rotate over. This means that no one's been working on any generators, and you need to have 2 more done here. Nice dodge that comes out from Drago. If they can bleed, then you can kill them. And you're hoping that Autumn Sadness bleeds right now. You very much are. But you've been forced into the very corner of the map, so it's not like you have long left in this. And yeah, Autumn Sadness actually just going to go for the slug. Not even the hook, even though it would have been completely fine. Focused on the generators, because that is where it's at.
Nicely done, though. We get a gen done. Opting to just probably double it instead of go for a reset, go for pickups here. I mean, if Catalyst plays this exceptionally well, they could take this set. They would need to do some serious cooking, though. Autumn Sadness has eyes on all 3 of the remaining gens, just like Mato5 did in the last match as well. Just kind of peering out from the church window here, kind of taking a look around to see pretty much anything. It's a little bit better split this time than it was last match, but still has pretty good eyes on everything here. Doesn't really have to move very far for anything. So, yeah, I mean, Autumn Sadness is sitting in a very good spot here, I'd say. We still haven't gotten the pick yet onto Drago, so all things considered, still... Okay, there it is. All right. We do finally get the pickup onto Drago. It's just how is Autumn Sadness going to cook in this preview one here? Oh, yeah. We find Mato5 at check. All right. Okay, nicely done. Wrapping the rock tightly, avoiding that blink attack. I imagine we're doubling the last gen while we're going for the final chase here onto Mato5. No, we're at reset a race.
Yeah, they went for a reset instead. In the long term, a better option, but do you have the long term to work with? Possibly not. Autumn Sadness, I think, yeah, when in the middle of this generator split, you're perfectly fine to take the time to get a hook, especially if it ends up putting Mad close to being dead on hook, which would be very, very ideal for you. Now you're essentially just looking around for whatever you can find, realistically. Mystic and Drago, you know that they would be lurking near the generators, but you're actually not looking at them too harshly. I think maybe you're trying to preempt them. You know that they're going to be hiding out, maybe away from them, instead of just like hardcore, you know, holding left click, sitting on a gen. So you're looking around instead, and yep, you may or may not have found your mark right there.
Oh, we do get a tag onto Drago here as well. Yeah, all things considered, not a okay. This is scary. This is really scary. We're in a position right now where Autumn Sadness can just really snowball this very hard. And okay, all right. Yeah, we're just gonna slug Drago again. There are slug survivor here, and we're gonna go find Mato5 somewhere, I imagine. Autumn Sadness has some really good macro, by the way. I think Matt is actually in this area on the map, actually. So some really good awareness.
Whether you find Mad here, whether you find Mystic, you're in a pretty fine spot. Maybe overestimating quite how progressed the generators are, because Sadness has a look at them and actually determines, no, they are not very progressed. Maybe I could have gotten that hook onto Drago, but it's all about forcing pressure, right? You know, you get the down onto Drago, and sure, a hook is good pressure, it goes towards the wing com, but you do force someone over to that slug, and that is a known quantity. You know, you know where that pickup would have happened. You can look around for that. You found Mystic, you found your mark.
Ooh.
You get stunned. This is going to allow Mystic, all through Shack plus the God Palette, Mystic going to be able to make a fair bit of distance.
Yeah, really solid stun from Mystic, by the way. So far, that's the first palette that Autumn Sadness has been outplayed on this match. Really solid stuff. Most of these palettes have been landing, resulting in a blink attack here. And yeah, we just kind of wait out the fatigue here. Get our second stack of blink attack. Oh. Okay, all right. Autumn Sadness is pretty crazy on this. We need to get to take a tag. We're gonna go back and look for Mato5 here, I imagine, who is stealthing out in this jungle gym here, this Orman tile, and getting a little bit close here. So maybe might find Mato5. Oh, does find him actually. Oh,
yeah,
this is bad.
Well, how about that, right? You're really looking to just pile on as much pressure as possible, as well as get your kill, right? You know, you even saw Drago healing in the corner, and you were just like, no, I don't care about Drago. I want Mad. That would be my kill. If I get that right now, I can all but secure a win for my team. It's going to be so easy from there, but you do have to get the down. That is the big issue here.
Yeah, so far Mad's playing this pretty well, all things considered. Actually, we're going to leave and go to Mystic, take the down on him. Really well played. Mato5 still dead on hook, though, and injured. Drago in the area. Mato5 has to be careful about what he does here. Drago takes a tag here. We're actually going to get on this gen over here. Drago's going to start the heal. Doesn't really get anywhere with it, though, because they're out of charges on the medkit now. This is rough, Edgar.
And you can just commit for a hook here. With every survivor injured, you're in a pretty safe spot. The gen which is most progressed and least accounted for, now right in front of you, and is actually pretty fine. It's about 40 or so. It's got some time left, not for a pop. So, as it goes onto a hook, very, very corner of the map as well. It leaves the survivors essentially no real room to work with, no easy ability to escape. And now, again, with so many injured survivors around, again, you play so patient, and eventually they will all just fall like dominoes.
Yeah, very well said. Mato5 does get the save, though, so we're starting to pick ourselves back up again. Drago's sitting on the ground. That's our slug survivor. We're just going to leave them on the ground probably the whole game. Don't even need to really play for a hook on them. We can just leave them slugged and let them kind of bleed out for a while. But now we're looking again for Mato5. Mystic's sitting on a gen at about 40%, like you said. We're actually back at this gen expecting to find Mystic, and we might actually find him. Mato5 has to play extremely safe here. Otherwise, okay, nice down. This is looking like wraps here. I mean, again, Autumn Sadness is an insanely good nurse. So this is looking very scary right now for Catalyst.
And honestly, and I mean this in a nice way, UMB Sadness is a good nurse, not necessarily by virtue of the micro, but by the macro, right? We've seen a lot of small decisions add up. The individual nature of it is your basic 101 nurse fundamentals. Don't blink until you have sight of the survivor. Use your first blink to go to their last known location, their second one to readjust. And if you can't see them, if you don't have clear OS of them, just wait. Just hold the fatigue. You'll have your next blink back the moment it's done, and you'll be completely fine, right? It's like you've been outplayed very few times, and you're gonna get this official tunnel out now, and it's just over. These survivors cannot recover from a spot like this.
Yeah, the crazy thing here is that even the remaining survivors, now that we're in the 2v1, are both injured. If you just play for Drago here, Mystic can't do anything. This is kind of wraps. We can literally just play for Drago here and we'll get the win. I think they do get the Den pop, but I mean at the same time,
bye, dude. I guess, and like you have enough time.
Wait,
even
no,
yeah.
Don't hook. No.
Wait! Drago can't get the hatch. Oh my god, they're down. Wait, there's no hatch. Oh my god! If Drago got hatch there, that would have barely clutched the win. That would have barely clutched the win by virtue of fresh hooks. But instead, it's not to be. And UMB Sadness is able to clutch it up at the final second, and Umbrella end up taking this series. Oh my god. It's over. It's finally over.
UMB Sadness playing with our feelings in that 4K0. My goodness. I was thinking, like, what are we doing here? Why do we hook with a death hook survivor when our only means of winning right now is going for Drago, who was like about to get hatch? Like that was so scary. That could have been like the last possible way for Catalyst to get the win there. And UMB Sadness risked it for the biscuit, and I guess he's feasting now. So yeah, well played to Umbrella for clutching that win, taking the 3-2 in this matchup here.
A reverse sweep.